Oh, you know what I love?
Sports.
Love sports.
Sports. When
It comes to Texas A&M.
Where are you getting this information?
Let me tell you.
Welcome to TexAgs.
It's here. It's time. There's always a buzz in the air when you hit this moment.
He is a guy that has gotten better and better and better. He's just got that dog in him.
We will develop men. We will graduate players, and we will win championships on the field.
I think of him as this hawk. Before long, he's going to be swooping in on those quarterbacks.
Coach Elko's my guy, right? Like, I love him. I love Michael Early. Like, I think Bucky's going to be incredible.
It's football, man. And that's what Warriors do. They don't want to sit out.
And this is a real program. It's not fake. This is a real place. And if you want to be really good at football, this is a really good place to be.
You know, if I'm betting on anybody, it's the Aggies.
OB?
Nuño.
Doesn't matter, but where's A&M going to be ranked today when both the AP and the coaches poll comes out? Because it's coming out a little later because there was a game last night. Mm-hmm. Shout out to TCU. Finally got one game right on my pick six. What do you think?
18, 17?
Well, let's kind of discuss why they... So, like, Alabama's got to drop out of the top 15, right?
I would think so.
You would think, right?
But it is Alabama. So
yeah.
They get the benefit of the doubt, typically.
Okay.
They learned a lot of doubts, though.
A lot of doubts.
No doubting Thomas, though.
Texas will probably fall to, what, 4 or 5?
Wait, you sure?
Good point.
It's Texas. They might actually gain votes. Yeah, they're probably going to fall. I would say Texas will be out of the top 5.
You think be out of 5?
I think they look that bad.
They lost by a touchdown on the road to Ohio State, who will be number 1.
Yeah, but they looked bad.
And yet they had a chance.
I could see them, yeah, they did. I could see them be, I mean, just out of the top 5, 6.
Okay, I'll give you that. Notre Dame, they were 6. And I think Miami was, what, 10 or 9? They'll flip-flop, right?
Yeah.
I think Notre Dame will still be in the top 10.
Yeah, because they're going to say, well, you know, they lost by 3 on the road, like you were just saying, against a ranked team. And you know, Notre Dame, like Texas, always gets a benefit of the doubt. So I would think, yeah, Notre Dame probably be 10.
Clemson, are they 2 heading into this one?
Really 2?
Or they're in the top 5. Where's Clemson? 4 maybe?
2 or 3 or 4, yeah. I can't remember. But yeah.
They're in top 5. They'll fall to maybe 7?
Yeah. Maybe further.
Okay.
I mean, they scored 10 points.
At home.
At home. Couldn't hold the lead.
But against the 85 Bears defense, apparently. I did that to get OB going. Florida State get in the top 25?
Yeah.
They deserve it.
Yeah, they may be in the top 20.
Could you see Miami going in the top 5?
Sure. You know, I look at certain teams, Ole Miss, for instance. Oh, they looked great. Well,
who did they play?
Who'd you play? You go out and you beat a ranked opponent, then you've already got more cachet built up than 90+% of the country. So, heck yeah, Miami should be in the top 5.
I agree with that as well. Mario Cristobal finally wins a big game.
Despite himself.
But you know what? What we consider big games today, we may not consider big games in a month or 2. For instance, you and I were having a dialogue. I was very impressed with LSU's defense against Clemson, but you brought up a good point.
I'm just saying, look, they looked good and they were terrible they were challenged defensively last year. I'm just saying that Clemson, they're basically the same offensive team they were last year.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, they didn't move the ball last year in the first game against Georgia. You look at, you know, their rushing numbers last year, you know, against bad teams like the Citadel and Appalachian State and even NC, they would put up huge numbers. But when they played out, you know, better teams, they were under 100 yards rushing, like under 90 yards rushing, I think, in 4 or 5 games last year. So I'm not so sure Clemson's not a product of the weak competition that's played. Now, that may be way off on that. Maybe LSU is tremendous. I'm just saying what I always say. Don't overreact, good or bad, to what you see in the first game.
If I'm ever Josh Pate's chief of staff, if he becomes commissioner of college football, I'm going to recommend to him an idea I just thought of that's probably a terrible idea. Here's my idea. If you get blown out ever during the season, you cannot go to the college football playoffs. That's the rule. Clemson lost by how many to Georgia last year?
31?
Yeah, I think that would constitute, in this rule, can't go. Unless there's, well, here with qualifiers, your quarterback's out, Hendon Hooker's hurt, he can't play, yada, yada, yada. Unless there's a reason, you're excommunicated from the playoff community.
Okay. Well, see, I would even go so far as to say, well, even more than that, if you lose to a FCS team
Okay.
or a group of 5, and yet Notre Dame last year lost to Northern Illinois and went on a run.
Yeah. So it's not a great rule. I just thought of it right now. I thought I'd throw it out at you. Shall we hear from Coach Elko?
Of course.
Let's hear from Coach Elko.
Mike Elko.
He kind of summed up the offense and the defense in his opening statement.
Offensively, I think we have to look at our consistency of execution and efficiency. We were able to make a lot of explosive plays. That was great to see. We also stalled out on some drives that we would like to have been able to keep going. Defensively, I thought we did a good job in the passing game and the pass defense. Certainly had that stretch in the second half where we really put our foot down and played the way we were supposed to. But obviously, the rushing yards were way too many, and that's an area of concern that we've got to get fixed. And so I think we come out of game one like you come out of a lot of game ones. Excited that we got the win and excited with a lot of the things that we did well, but certainly knowing that growth is going to be real important for us to go out and continue to have success.
Yeah. All those things. The thing about that game, the only thing that I looked at and went, okay, this is still a cause for concern based on what you saw in that game, not based on last year, but based on that game, is the propensity to give up the big play in the running game because the pass defense was sound.
Yep. Against a team that can pass, by the way.
Yeah. They didn't run well, but they didn't try.
I think Le'Veon, was it 3 attempts for 19 yards? I mean.
Yeah. So they're not even trying, they're obviously not trying to run because I'm not saying they weren't trying to run. They weren't focused on it. That was not their focus. They wanted to throw the ball. And yet, they gave up, I think, again, we were talking about it yesterday, 240 to 245 yards rushing on 5 plays. But the rest of the game
was good.
It was 10%.
Well, you actually asked Coach Elko that question yesterday in the press conference. Here's Coach Elko diagnosing.
It was a great answer.
Yeah, it was a very good answer because it's something that we saw last year. We saw it already in game 1 of this season. Here's Coach Elko on that.
What I told the guys is this: it's at some point we have to realize that that's really all it ever is those 4 or 5 plays, and the urgency to be correct and right every single snap is what differentiates you from being elite and average and bad on defense. And that's just this day and age, and that's how it works. And so regardless of who you play, regardless of what it looks like, we're really good when we do things the way we're capable of it, and we're really bad when we don't. And we've got to figure out, again, how to get the really good to be more consistent.
How different does that game look instead of 4 or 5 of those explosive plays? Because you're going to give up explosive plays, right? You are. But like some of those were like boneheaded, if you will, explosive plays.
I would just ask you this.
Yes, sir.
What if the safety doesn't miss the tackle?
How different we look?
75-yard run, and it's a 10-yard gain instead of 75 yards. Take 65 yards off that, and now they rush for 140, and you're thinking, yeah, but they got a dude at running back.
Yep.
And
then I think we'd be saying the same thing we're saying about the big 75-yard play. First half, they gave up way too many rushing yards, but look what they did in the second half. Nada.
It's really as simple as taking away I say simple. It's not simple, but if you could just take away the huge chunk plays, understanding, especially when you got a guy like that, UTSA Robert Henry Jr.,
who,
by the way, I told you last year, he had a 54-yard touchdown run against Texas. He had an 88-yard run against Memphis, an 83-yard. I mean, he's a big play guy.
Yeah,
and they were a good offensive team. So you understand you're going to give up some plays, but it's the 75-yarder that could have been a 10-yarder that drives you crazy.
Let's do this for a second. We had a checklist of things we wanted to see this year, okay?
Mhm.
And through one game, Marcel better passing?
Oh, I thought Marcel was excellent.
Yep, okay.
Except for one.
Yeah, but Marcel was better passing.
But you know what? Even that, I felt the silver lining in Marcel missing that 50-yard touchdown is that the silver lining is he saw it, he recognized it, and tried to throw the ball to the right guy.
Correct. So check explosive receivers.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Let's see.
I've been craving some offensive big play guys, and Mario Craver came through.
Using of the tight ends?
Yeah, I thought it was efficient.
Efficient using, okay.
A heck of a catch by Nate Bokacher in traffic.
Pass rush? TBD.
Yeah.
Okay. Run defense? Not good.
90% of the time it was very good. 10% of the time it was not.
Okay. And that 10% ended up being 80% of their production.
Yeah.
Okay. And then secondary play. Good?
Oh, yeah.
So you came away disappointed, Nancy. You know, Nancy's very upset with the Aggies right now.
Who?
Nancy. That's what I want to call the people who are disappointed.
Okay.
Negative Nancy.
Okay, Nancy.
I called her disappointing Nancy. But negative Nancy is very disappointed with the Aggies.
Okay.
And she fails to recognize that most of the areas that we wanted to see, most, not all, were check marks.
I think that
in game one. There's a lot more left. It's just UTSA, I recognize.
I think Nancy, I thought maybe she was a relative, Nancy Nuño. But I thought Nancy was...
she would be Nancita.
Nancita Nuño.
Yeah.
I thought Nancita was probably looking at UTSA and just says, oh, they're a group of 5 team. They shouldn't do anything. A&M does have to be better against the run. But that's a team that you know, or you should know, has the capability of making some plays.
Correct.
This week against Utah State, I would not anticipate seeing. I don't think UTSA has as much, as many bullets in the holster, or whatever, however you say it, whatever that thing is on your holster. I don't think they're as explosive. They don't have the same amount. So if there was something similar this week, I'm going, oh my gosh, what's going on here?
Yeah.
But I knew that UTSA was going to make some offensive plays.
By the way, this is TexAgs Live.
It is TexAgs Live, brought to you by
David
Nuño?
Gardner's
David
Jewelers.
Gardner.
Yeah, he's a real gem of a guy. This other guy, not so much.
Not so much.
And you weren't supposed to agree with that. We're currently in the Rollo Insurance Studio.
Jason Rollo and the boys.
Yeah? Can you name another Rollo?
Jackson.
There you go. Look at that. The double J's. I love trivia questions with OB. And this hour
is the go hour.
It is the go hour. It's more like 48 minutes of an hour, and that's presented by
the warehouse at CC Creations.
And we are right now up high on a platform known as the Holistic
Planning Cool Zone.
Thank you very much. Reach out to Holistic Planning. All right, and if you want to be a part of the conversation,
all you got to do is get in touch with us, either call or text on the Buppy's Catering and Bartending hotline at 979-693-1150.
That is correct. Yesterday, apparently, something was pushed a button was pushed where that's why we couldn't hear our callers. We had a couple of people try to call. So it's apparently pushed today correctly. Okay. So if you want to call, now you've had time to digest this A&M information. Was
it Aaron that we couldn't get here yesterday?
You have a great memory.
Was it?
I don't know. I just agree with you. Let's go around the room and say hi to the people. Behind the glass is our director, our friend, our colleague, Nick Savage.
Good morning, y'all.
Good morning.
What'd y'all think of the game last night, man? 70 transfers in for old Belichick, and it doesn't look like it's going to work out very well.
Well, I don't know if we can do that about one game.
Yeah, right. That's very true.
When you have 70 transfers, when you're a new head coach, and also I think I talked about this Friday on the show, Bill Belichick, it takes time for his culture to establish, as a lot of coaches, right? His first couple years in the NFL with the Cleveland Browns and with the Patriots were not very good years.
Yeah.
I think he went 6-10 his first year with the Patriots.
And then he got Tom Brady in the lineup and became a great coach.
But how about Max Johnson, the former Aggie quarterback?
Hey, I was so happy for Max. I mean, he's been through so much. I didn't know until they said it that he almost lost his leg. I knew he had a bad break last year. He's had a lot of bad breaks in his career.
Threw the touchdown pass to his brother.
Yeah, we
Jake.
saw that happen more than once.
9 of 11, 103 yards and a touchdown. But TCU, 542 yards of total offense.
And Josh Hoover, that TCU quarterback out of Rockwall, the birthplace of Olin Buchanan, he was just lighting it up.
27
he was very impressive.
27 of 36, 284 yards, 2 touchdowns, and a pick.
Yeah, and then I saw I can't remember the kid's name, but the corner, or I guess he was a safety with the pick six, just brilliant play. He was just baiting the quarterback.
Bud Clark,
that's right.
Yeah. He had a pick six against Michigan in the college football playoff a couple of years ago. Well, I would remember because it was traumatizing.
Yeah, helped him go to the national championship game. Speaking of traumatizing,
but Luke, there's only one team that should traumatize you,
exactly.
and that's Texas A&M.
Yeah.
Let's go to the Angry Elephant News and Social Center, where we find young Luke Evangelist, who has been teaching the interns how to do the Social Center.
Yes, I have been. My thoughts on the game were I just think TCU is really that good.
College football playoffs that good?
Top 5 in the Big 12, potentially contending for a Big 12 championship and then playoff bid.
And you would pick who to win the Big 12 today?
Probably Arizona State. But I think TCU is more, I know they have a tough schedule, but I would say they showed me a lot last night with how they can run the ball that maybe I feel better about them going from middle of the pack, Big 12, to maybe they can contend in that conference.
I was really impressed with Utah this weekend.
Oh, they took it.
I liked it. They
dismantled Nico.
UCLA, and they got the great quarterback and everything, and yet Utah just
that's a good program.
Just dominated. Yeah, Kyle Williams, really good coach.
Yep.
Utah scored more points than UCLA had fans in attendance, by the way. That's an official stat.
That's a stat?
Yeah.
That's almost true.
What do you have for this morning, Luke?
Well, how about Aggie Soccer's Kaylee Noble being named the SEC Offensive Player of the Week after scoring a hat trick against Lafayette? Coach G's team is still undefeated, and they're going to travel to take on both SFA and number 4 TCU on the road this week. And Aggie Volleyball is also undefeated and going on the road this week. They've got a road trip to Utah. They're playing number 21 Utah on Thursday and Utah State on Friday. And you can watch that top 25 showdown against Utah on ESPN2.
Well, speaking of that, what guests do we have on the show today?
We've got Jamie Morrison.
Yeah, and we have Coach G.
And Coach G.
And we have Gerrod Chadwell, by the way.
Yeah, we've got a lot of coaches coming in. We like to interview coaches at TexAgs.
But believe it or not, contrary to somebody's thoughts at PKO. All right, let's hit a break, Opie. Segue. Let me see. Pull it out. Let's see what we're going to talk about. All right, so we got a lot of coaches on the show.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
And if coaches are on the show, and they're like, I'm kind of hungry, dude. And they say, dude. I don't know if you know that. Coaches say they do. What do you suggest we do, OB?
Well, if it was Thursday, Friday, or Saturday.
Yeah, it's going to be a Thursday. Let's pretend.
I would suggest, let's go to 1775. You've been having everybody's winning here, right? The soccer team's done well. The football team just won. The volleyball team is undefeated. Well, then be undefeated at lunch, too. And you can be undefeated by going to 1775.
Okay.
You get that brisket.
The brisket. Tell me more.
Oh, that's succulent.
But
it's so soft.
I think you've made a trade. Okay. I think you've made a trade. You used to be team brisket, and I know you still love brisket.
I do.
But I saw the infidelity with the sausage.
The jalapeno cheese sausage.
You were just like when nobody was looking, you thought you could steal one? I saw that.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
And I'm not the guy. I mean, I like sausage, but usually you get the brisket and just have a little bit of sausage on the side. Just kind of throw a change up.
Sure. Yeah.
No, I become the change up pitcher. You just go, I'm Evan Aschenbach out there. Awesome back. And it's awesome barbecue. And I'm just getting that jalapeno cheese sausage. It's amazing. I like the pork ribs. It's the best thing about a pig. And
if I get they cut the sausage in little pieces, I throw it up like a dog, and you were
I was jumping up and getting it. So that's how you win at lunch. Aggies win on the field and on the court, and then go win at lunch at 1775.
That's called a 19-minute live spot. 979-492-6241. 1775txbbq.com.
It's good.
Hey everyone, David Nuño and Olin Buchanan and OB. Typically we start off the show in this section, and we call it the Holistic Planning Cool
The cool zone. Yeah, it's pretty cool.
What do we know about holistic planning?
Well, a lot of cool stuff. For instance, holistic planning can help you with your investments.
I love that.
They can help you with your taxes. So
I don't like paying
You
taxes.
can get that money from your investments and they keep it. They'll help you keep it away from the government.
Yep.
Not all of it, but more of it. And then they'll even help you with your estate planning. When you're old like me, you got to make sure some of that money you made is there for when you want to retire and just enjoy the rest of your life.
You want your estate to be planned. But they also do something else.
Yeah, well, if you are, like, say, a sports fan, and you've always wanted to...
Everybody watching us, right?
Yeah. And you want to always dream of being an owner, well, in a certain way you can, because they will broker the deal for you to invest in pro sports.
Yeah, what you need to do is check out investinprosports.com. That's where you can get all the information if you want to invest in a team. I don't know what team. He'd probably try to buy the Cowboys. I'd try to buy a lot of the Houston teams. Whatever it may be, investinprosports.com. It is holistic planning, and we love hanging out at the Holistic Planning Cool Zone. As a reminder, the final segment of the program is brought to you by Double Dave's. That's at 10:50. But right now, caller number 12, 979-693-1150. We're going to hook you up with your choice of a dozen pepperoni rolls or a large one-topping pizza from Double Dave's. They've been serving Aggieland since 1984 with your favorite pizza and, of course, those world-famous pepperoni rolls. Reliable in-house delivery, bringing piping hot goodness straight to your door. Just click on doubledaves.com and your favorites are on their way. OB, let's do the performance of the week, shall we?
Oh, that's going to be a difficult chore.
Well, we can give several. It's our show. We do what we want.
Okay.
You want to give more than one? Give more than one. And I know Luke's going to have some of the other sports. We'll focus on football, but we'll have Luke focus on some of the other sports.
All right. So performance of the week. Who you call? What's the word I'm looking for? Anointing as the guy with the performance of the week.
Let's give Casey Concepcion the love right now. Let's start off with Casey because a punt return for a touchdown. Billy pointed out correctly, he could have had 4 touchdowns in that game.
Yeah, he could have.
But he had 2, and he was fantastic. He was everything and more than we expected.
He was amazing. Again, we talked about that punt return that got everything going. We talked about the slant. The slant's going to be deadly all year, guys.
Yep.
Watch out for that. He got that slant. He has good hands, and then just runs away from everybody. He's so elusive. And then, of course, the 48-yarder that they just missed on, and then he had one where he just barely stepped out of the back of the end zone. But besides those touchdowns, he had some really nice receptions earlier. So just a spectacular debut for him.
All right, Mario Craver, number 2 or number 1, like 1A, 1B.
Well, he's number 1 in your program. Probably number 1 in your heart after that. 2 short passes that he turns into 24 and 22-yard touchdowns. Finishes with 8 catches for like 122 yards?
Correct. And 98 yak yards after the catch.
Yeah, I know what a yak is. 8 catches was more than anybody had in a single game last year.
Is that right?
Mm-hmm.
I did not know that. Shall we give Marcel Reed some love? Because I think he deserves love.
Well, 4 touchdown passes, a career high, and 289 yards passing. He completed about, almost 65%. He can get better with that. Did not throw an interception. Ran well. Didn't run a lot, but he ran well. Got a heck of a block from Le'Veon Moss on one scramble. But, if that's the Marcel Reed we're going to get all year, and I think it is, good things are awaiting the Aggies.
You have anybody on defense you'd like to say?
I was really impressed with Marcus Ratliff. I've been worried about the safety position. And I feel it has to get better. Well, he was really good. I think he had, if my memory serves, 7
tackles and a tackle for loss.
A tackle for loss from safety. I love that. And broke up 2 passes, if I'm not mistaken. So
the highest defensive PFF score at 80.4 and the highest coverage grade at 82.
Yeah, I thought he was excellent. And again, if you can get consistent, high-level safety play, that's going to solve a lot of issues that you had last year.
Yeah, and I'm going to, and people don't want me to, but I'm in a good mood, so deal with it, people. I'm going to give the coaching staff a little bit of props because they made adjustments, and those adjustments worked in the game.
Well, they surely worked probably about, for 14 and a half minutes of the
second half?
Of the second half. The running... Well, the defense overall was just spectacular after the 75-yard
That doesn't mean we don't erase what happened before, but there was a point where it changed.
It's like you always talk about with your kids. You say they make a mistake. You say, hey, you did this wrong. I don't want to see this again. But then you don't, and so, you can forgive it.
Yep. Now, there'll be a new test in a couple of weeks. Well, there's a new test this weekend with Utah State, but a new real test on the road at Notre Dame.
Yeah, it's like it's not a final exam. It's like what's the big test you get before
midterm?
The final? Midterm. Thank you. I
know it's been a while.
It never happened. What do you mean been a while? It never happened. But it's huge. But hey, you know what? You still got to go out, and I know it's a practice game. Elko's never going to say that. It's a glorified practice against Utah State, but you still got to go out there and show the things, show the improvement that you're looking to make.
Yep, I agree. All right, let's go back to the Angry Elephant News and Social Center. Luke, give us some love in some of the other sports, if you don't mind.
Yeah, how about the entire Aggie women's golf team winning the Carmel Cup by 26 strokes? That's kind of like if David and OB played golf. I would assume David would beat OB by 26 strokes.
I don't think so. I think I would lose by 26.
Really?
Yeah, and not to make this about me, but I'm not good at things that effort doesn't help you.
Luke, you derelict. Ask Gabe Bach about me playing golf in El Salvador and how I had on the last 2 holes.
That's a humble brag, El Salvador.
Yeah,
I had bogeys on the last 2 holes.
There you go.
So just
and how did he do?
I don't remember. He's better than me.
But you beat him?
No,
Oh, okay.
I just said I had 2
Oh,
bogeys.
yeah. I
on
just
the
thought
last
maybe
2
he had double bogeys throughout. I don't know.
No, I mean he's better. I probably had a 27 on one hole.
But the truth is, if it requires like patience and like you can't like anger your way through it, I'm not
Right.
good at it.
Yeah, I could see that for you.
Thanks for agreeing.
Here's a sport that maybe you could anger
it's
your way
proven-
through it, which is volleyball.
Volleyball, spike it!
Yeah, Logan Lednicki and Afena Kazakpala combined for 21 kills against Central Arkansas. And then, of course, we already talked about it, Kaylee Noble. She got an award that was better than just being the performance of the week. She was SEC Offensive Player of the Week with her hat trick.
That is huge. Thank you, Luke. Let's hit a break. The Dream's coming up next.
The Dream.
Charean the Dream Williams.
Charean the Dream.
I love Charean.
I wonder if she had some nightmares this week.
Well, I don't think she was on the show before the Micah trade. I think it was after, right?
Yeah.
So we got that to talk about. We got Aggie football to talk about. Donovan.
I know she was at the game.
She was at the game. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. So we'll talk about all those things here on TexAgs. All right. When it comes to your money and peace of mind, it starts with the right team. And let's talk about Paragon Financial Advisors. They're an independent fiduciary firm serving clients across Texas. No commissions, no sales pitches, just trusted advice tailored to you. They have 18 professionals, including over 9 CFPs, a CFA, and a CPA, and their expertise runs deep at Paragon. Credentials do matter, and so does your future. And our QB1, Stephen McGee, does work there, by the way. What you need to do is visit paragon-adv.com or call them up, 979-693-3907 to schedule your free consultation today. It is Paragon Financial Advisors, integrity, expertise, and trust. Paragon Financial Advisors. All right, we're talking about Burlebo, the heart of Texas, more than an outdoor lifestyle brand. It's products created with you in mind. Currently, I'm wearing the performance polo, the Texas maroon and gray. If you look into it, you've got the state of Texas in gray, and you also got it in maroon. It's one of their highest, most popular sales that they have there. It is really nice. Comfort and versatility. You can wear it in any situation. Quick drying, fits the size. But Burlebo, they're rooted in tradition, fueled by passion for the outdoors. Designs high-quality apparel that works just as hard as you do. So whether you're hitting a workout, enjoying a day of fishing, or cheering on your favorite college team, their gear is made for the athlete, the outdoorsman, and the everyday adventure. And it's really nice. I wore this one to church the other day. People talked about it. Really, my kids were like, Dad, you look pretty good today. From athletic shorts to your favorite go-to tees and performance hoodies, they have everything you want. Check out burlebo.com and find your new favorite gear. It's Burlebo for the athlete, for the outdoors, and for the family. And we're back. TexAgs Live, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers Rollo Insurance Studio. Go Hour, presented by The Warehouse at CC Creations. We go to the Buppy's Catering Bartending Hotline. That's where we find Charean Williams, Pro Football Talk, the Aggie great, the Hall of Famer here on the program. Charean, good morning.
Good morning. How are we doing today?
You know what? We're doing well. I find it interesting, Charean, the initial response to the game on Saturday, I think, from fans, where they didn't know how to feel. With a little bit of distance, I think people are feeling better about the 18-point win, by the way, over UTSA. What was your takeaway?
Well, I said to a couple, I'm not a gambler, but I said to a couple people before the game, I said, boy, 22 points, I'd put $1,000 down in Vegas and feel pretty good about it. Well, you wouldn't have felt real good about it till the very end when you obviously would have won the $1,000. But, so that tells me that they played better than I expected them to play because they, the first team did cover the spread. I need to see more out of the run game and defending the run, and I realize what they had in the box. I get all that, but you're going to have to be able to run the ball better. But, long passes, something we haven't seen, the 20-yard, they almost, they're halfway to what they totaled last year in 20-yard completions. Those receivers are legit. I think that's the most exciting thing. And the improvement from the special teams. I fear every time we kick off because I've just seen it too many times when we kick off and they return it. Now, they didn't return many except the one with the 12th-man kickoff team there, and I don't know why they didn't. It was a mistake on their part, but I thought the special teams played really, really well. So I was excited by that because you got to have a good special teams. The punt return was fantastic, and shout out to E.J. Smith. As I wrote on Twitter, that was one of the best effort plays I've ever seen since Larry Allen chased down Darian Connor as a rookie after Troy Aikman had thrown an interception. Just an incredible thing to take out three would-be tacklers. He just took them out. Just a great effort by a senior on playing special teams. That's just unheard of. So shout out to E.J. Smith on that. I thought he had the effort play of the night.
You buying that the pass defense is that much improved, or are you still hesitant?
Yeah, I think we need to see a little bit more on everything was underneath, the short passes, and I expected them to go downfield a little bit more with McCowan at quarterback, and really didn't see that, but they were running the ball awfully well. And after it was probably the second series, maybe the third, I kept saying, if I'm them, I don't throw another pass tonight. I make a stop the run before I ever throw again. And they kept throwing some passes, which I didn't understand. Sometimes coaches outthink themselves, but I thought they just should have stayed in there and run the ball until the Aggies proved they could stop it. And they eventually did. The second half, I thought the defense shored up and played much better after that first play of the second half. They really played awfully well before they left the game. So I think that was an improvement that was nice to see. But I think we need to see a little bit more out of the pass defense and getting after the quarterback, and are they able to do that? We're going to see different types of offenses than what UTSA presented. But make no mistake, they're a good offense. So I think we're going to see that running back is legit. And I think you're going to see him have a really big year against a lot of good teams.
Talking to Charean Williams here on TexAgs Live. Charean, anything about, I don't know how much you were able to pay attention to Notre Dame and Miami, but anything about Notre Dame that makes you feel better or worse when A&M goes there in a couple weeks?
Well, it's not the same quarterback we saw last year, that's for sure. I think it makes you feel a little bit better. But now, again, I kept saying, where's Love? Why aren't they running the ball? Why aren't they running the ball? Why are they throwing the ball? They had a 3-and-out, and they threw 3 passes. I'm like, where is the run game? You have an All-American back there at running back. We're going to have to stop the run. They're going to run against us. There is no question about that. We are going to have to stop the run. We are going to see a different offense. And if we can't stop the run, then it's going to be a long day. But I think it encourages you, and I think it encourages you with what they did against that Notre Dame defense. I don't think the Notre Dame defense is as good as what it was last year. And the offense I don't think is as good. But they still have the running back there. And you're going to have to stop Love if you're going to win the game. And if we can do that, I think we've got a really good chance to win that game.
Yeah, I agree with that. If you stop Love, hopefully that Notre Dame will stop Love by not giving the ball. But I think that's not going to be the case. I think you're going to see the best version of whatever Notre Dame is when they play Texas A&M. Because, right, Charean, I mean, if they have 2 losses, they may be already out of the playoff consideration before you get into mid-September.
Yep.
Yeah, 2 games in, they might be out because they have a bye this week, so they could be 0-2 and be out of it. So this is a must-win for them, and they're going to put everything into this. They're going to spend the off week studying A&M and trying to get better. And yeah, I expect them to come out and run the ball, try to run the ball. And again, if we can stop the run, I think you feel really good about your chances. And we didn't even talk about the offense. I like what I saw out of Marcel Reed. I was disappointed in the long one he missed. I think he was probably too jacked up. In fact, I texted Olin right after that. I was like, that's a pass you just can't miss. I mean, a guy that wide open. And you can't. But I think he was probably jacked up first game. He played pretty well. They saved him on some catches. Those receivers have legit hands. But I saw a different Marcel Reed than I saw last year. And I think that's good for A&M going into that Notre Dame game.
Charean, I know OB is going to want to talk about the Michael Parsons trade with you, but beforehand, Donovan Williams getting the captain or one of the captains. How did that all kind of unfold?
Yeah, he's a quiet leader, and it was kind of a surprise, to be honest. I think everybody was surprised by it, but I think you see how Donovan Wilson has matured and grown up and become a leader, whether it's spoken or unspoken, in that locker room. And he has a voice, and they look to him. So that's a really big deal. When you're voted captain by your teammates, that's a huge deal. So shout out to Donovan Wilson with how far he's come in his career. We didn't even know if he'd make the roster his first year. I mean, I was there. Is he even going to make the roster? And then to become a starter and now to become a captain just tells you how far he's come in his career. So shout out to Donovan Wilson for how well he's done in his NFL career. Perhaps something that none of us saw, that he would last this long and be this good.
Yeah, he's a good player here, but he was, what was he, Charean, like a 6th-round draft choice? They got lucky with him. Hey, so Charean, has Jerry just lost his mind, or is he just so much smarter than the rest of us that we don't see the genius in his decision to trade Micah Parsons?
Well, I had a coach from another team call me the next day and say, what is Jerry Jones doing? He just traded a generational pass rusher for a nose guard. What is he doing? And, I think Jerry, he has a line that, don't let your money get mad. I think he let his money get mad. I think he thought he had a deal with Micah in March. I know he did. He thought he had a deal with Micah in March, and the agent said, no, that's not a deal. We're starting from the beginning. And Jerry got butthurt and said, we're going to move on. I think the last straw was when Micah went and had the specialist look at his back and decided that he was probably going to use that. I don't think he was going to play. I don't think he was going to practice. I don't think he was going to play. I think he was going to stay. His back was hurt, and we can argue whether it is or isn't. We all saw the reports yesterday. Oh, he may have an epidural. Maybe, maybe not. Players have epidurals all the time. He's going to play for the Packers, and he could have played for the Cowboys, but he wasn't going to play. And I think that was probably the last straw for the Cowboys. They said, well, we're going to have this guy over here making $24 million sitting on the bench. And he's going to be a distraction. We've got to do something here. And so they traded him to a conference rival. Reminded me of the Charles Haley trade when the balance of power shifted from San Francisco to Dallas. And just talked to Eddie DeBartolo, who was the owner at that time, just talked to him a few weeks ago about that trade. And he said it's one of my biggest regrets in my career. Yes, we had to trade him because of what had happened, but we shouldn't have traded him to Dallas. We should have taken less to go somewhere else. That's the way I feel about this. They should have traded him before the draft. They would have gotten far more for him. You could have done a Deshaun Watson type sweepstakes where you get tons more for them. Just think of it this way. This to me told me everything you need to know. The Texans gave up more to get Laramie Tunsil from the Dolphins than the Cowboys got from Micah Parsons, who I think we all agree is a generational pass rusher, 52.5 sacks, premier position. You don't trade those guys away. Now, having said all that, the Cowboys may have a plan for these picks. They're going to be low-round picks. If they have a plan to package them to get up to get a premier player, it's going to be hard to get up in that top 10, but if they have a plan to get up and get a premier player, then maybe it can turn out to be a win-win, but it remains to be seen. But right now, you say the Cowboys lost this trade, and they lost it badly.
Yeah, I have a hard time trusting them to draft great players that don't just fall into their lap, right?
Yeah.
So there's too many Tyler Gottens and Mozzie Smiths and Leighton Vander Esch's going on and on and on for me to feel good about it. But thanks, Shereen. Thanks for making me feel worse.
Well, I hope they do have a plan for it, and I hope it turns out to be a win for them. Kenny Clark's a really good run stopper. He's not as good as what they've made him out to be. They made him as the second coming of the greatest run stopper in NFL history. He's not that. He's better than what they had. He's a Pro Bowler. He's better than what they had. He's not the end-all, be-all who's going to absolutely stop the run for you. And if you look at what the Packers did against the run with him, I think 17th might have been the highest they finished in run defense with Kenny Clark in their front. So it's not like they were a great run defense with Kenny Clark, but he's better than what they had. And, yes, he's probably the best they've had since Jason Hatcher made the Pro Bowl in the 1 year he played defensive tackle for the Cowboys. But this was not, as the Cowboys sold it, this was not to make the run defense better. This was, we're mad at Micah Parsons, and we feel like he's going to be a distraction. We've got to move on from him. And we'll see if they can generate any kind of pass rush without him. Because, yeah, you may be able to better stop the run, but teams certainly are going to be able to throw on you because they're going to have more time.
Edge Cooper and Micah Parsons.
Yeah.
This could be like Lawrence Taylor and Carl Banks.
All right. Hey, Charean, we appreciate you as always. Next week, we'll have some Aggies in the NFL to talk about.
All right. Thank you, guys.
Thank you. Charean, the Hall of Famer, here on TexAgs Live on the Puppy's Catering Bartending Hotline. We'll hit a break. We'll get to some text messages, close out the Go Hour. Looking for a reason to come back to Aggieland, or you're already living in Aggieland, you need to check out the Association of Former Students if you need a new gig, because they're seeking to hire professionals to join their team. And their positions open in fundraising, former student programs, and much, much more. They are the nation's premier alumni association and the oldest organization supporting A&M in part of that Aggie network. They play a part in every Aggie story from Howdy to here. Don't miss opportunities to help out the association with Howdy Socials, Aggie Ring Day, class reunions, Aggie Muster, and everything in between. Join a team that exemplifies those Aggie core values of excellence, integrity, leadership, loyalty, respect, and selfless service, all in support of that worldwide Aggie network. If you're interested in joining the team or sharing with someone that would be a great fit, please visit tx.ag/association jobs to apply and get more information on each position. It is the Association of Former Students. Hey friends, David Nuño here for Prize Picks. They're back on TexAgs, prizepicks.com/TexAgs. Use the code TexAgs to get $50 once you play in $5 lineups. And Prize Picks is the best place to win cash while watching sports. Football season's here, basketball coming up, baseball, you name it. You go to prizepicks.com/TexAgs and start having some fun watching sports, making some money on there. And you can play Prize Picks in over 40 states, including California and Texas. Remember, they'll give you $50 in lineups once you play $5 lineups on Prize Picks. And they have the new thing. It's called It's Good to Be Right campaign, and they're kicking off the upcoming NFL season with their bold new campaign, It's Good to Be Right. The seasonal long push celebrates the thrills of getting it right, from the perfect prediction to winning your Prize Picks lineups. Prize Picks, it's good to be right. And we're back. TexAgs Live, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers, Rollo Insurance Studio Go Hour, presented by the Warehouse at CC Creations. We're going to get to some text, but I wanted to read this text or this tweet from Brett McMurphy. I don't know if you saw this last night. Ironically, UNC backup Max Johnson is 24 years old, the same age as Jordan Hudson, Bill Belichick's girlfriend. With that, we go to the Angry Elephant News and Social Center. Hi, Luke.
I'll be 24 in 20 days.
Wait. So you could date. Never mind.
Bill Belichick.
No, I didn't say it. I just said of someone of that age.
Okay, moving on. We forgot one A&M team that's playing this week, and that's A&M Rugby is going to play Baylor at 6:30 on Friday night at Penberthy. Thank you, Chuck Martin, for that text. So make sure to come out and support. I've got another text from David in the Pacific Northwest. He says, he reminds us that A&M football has only started 2-0 once since 2016, and it was 2021.
And how did that season play out?
Well, they
it could have been a really good season,
and then they probably had the best win in program history.
Well, they tumbled twice in a row, Mississippi State and Arkansas.
Remember the pass off the helmet of Bryce Foster? Oh, my gosh.
And then when it looked like they had a chance for Atlanta.
They did.
Yeah,
they
beat Auburn. They were going on a run.
Right? They just had to win the last two games against a bad LSU team and an Ole Miss team that was good, but I think that was not the best called game.
Oh, it was terrible. And all they had to do was put in A-Chain and feed A-Chain. Mm-hmm. And, of course, they did not until it was too late. He scored 2 touchdowns late, but it was a big safety was a big part of that game. And then Calzada had a pick 6.
What else, Mr. Luke?
How about a stat that I saw?
Okay, I would love to hear a stat that you saw.
TCU is the only FBS team in the last 20 seasons to have 2 25-plus yard rushing touchdowns, a 25-plus yard passing touchdown, a 25-plus yard interception return touchdown, and a 25-plus yard fumble return touchdown, all in the same game. And the craziest part is Bill Belichick never allowed that over the course of a season when he was a head coach in the NFL.
Hear me out, OB.
I'm listening.
All right, and I don't have a lot of time, and we're not going to be able to debate this, but there are sometimes I wonder, wouldn't it be that bad being in some of these other conferences? Because the perception of your program is, if you're in the SEC, everybody sucks, right? But getting to the playoffs would be nice.
Yeah, well,
it'd be nicer if you did it from the SEC. But I'm just saying. Sometimes I'm like, God,
make it out of the SEC, and you can feel like you got a great chance to
win it all. Yeah, not just play in a playoff game. Good point. Thank you, Obi.
Mm-hmm.
When we come back, a very loaded 9 o'clock hour. Pate, McCoy, Morrison, Chadwell, the best law firm on TexAgs. We'll do, actually, no, Hunter Shartliff is. But regardless, this is a very good law firm. We'll do that on the other side. It's TexAgs Live, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers in the Rollo Insurance Studio. And thank you to the Warehouse at CC Creations for the Go Hour. And we're back. TexAgs Live, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers, Rollo Insurance Studio. Hour number 2 of the program. Time for our weekly conversation with Josh Pate, brought to you by Academy Sports and Outdoors. As always, if you find a lower price, Academy will beat it by 5% with their best price guarantee. Get new gear for the new year at Academy today. All right, we go to the Buppy's Catering Hotline, and that's where we find Josh Pate. Josh, good morning, buddy.
You know, David, you could have given me a million guesses a week ago about what you and I would be talking about today. I would have guessed a million times. That's how much I value the back and forth we have. I don't think I would have gotten it. In a million guesses, I don't think I would have gotten it. How are you, sir?
I'm well, and I'd say 97% of the time I'm going to start off with an A&M question, but we'll get to A&M. Alabama, buddy. I, like you and like Billy Lucci, thought they were going to win the SEC, and they still could, by the way. But if the physicality that I saw on Saturday is any indication, I don't know if Kalen DeBoer is going to be able to survive this kind of season, even though his buyout is huge. I think I saw a tweet that said you went to their practice a couple times, maybe last week or the week before, and you were pretty impressed. What happened?
No clue. Oh, I picked him to win the national title after I went and watched him practice. So, you know, it harkens back to last year. Luckily for me, Saban goes to FSU's practice, watches them and says, yeah, that's your ACC champ right there. I'm picking them. And we saw what happened there. So practice can lie to you. Scrimmages can lie to you. Yeah, I have no idea. I was dumbfounded. That was a baseball bat to the face for me. It was one thing to get out executed or drop passes, fixable things. In other words, because we see that in week 1 every year. This is what happens when you don't have a preseason in college football. That's explainable. Some of the non-negotiables that we just take for granted from a lot of top 10 teams, physicality, as you talked about, just effort, max effort, that stuff wasn't there, which is why for everyone, including their staff, that it's talking about how they'll get it righted. They've got the guys in the building to get it righted. Maybe you do. I'm going to have to see it to believe it. Like from last week, I kind of wiped my slate clean of expectations. I'm kind of starting from scratch with Alabama. If they get it fixed, they get it fixed. I'm very suspicious because once that stuff's in you, David, it's in you. So no matter how many games they win, like I'll always know that that's there. Somewhere under the hood, that possibility's there.
When teams lose, people start poking holes about culture and whatnot. What have you seen from the culture there under the Kalen DeBoer, in the Kalen DeBoer era? You know, I think people were talking about Ryan Williams, you know, TikToks or tweets, whatever it was. What do you see from their culture?
A lot of that stuff exists everywhere. It's always anecdotal. When you win, that's just, oh man, they're loose. Look how much fun they're having. When they lose, all of it's an indictment. So when I've gone around there, and I've been around Saban's Alabama, I've been around DeBoer's Alabama, it is different, but the way it's supposed to look is there are very many branches that exist and extend off a tree. The tree better be the same. The non-negotiables better be the same. The principles and values pretty much better be the same. That goes for Bama, that goes for Georgia, that goes for Tennessee, A&M, whoever, or else you're not going to win. And certainly the branches look different. I thought the tree looked the exact same. So that I could still be right about that. That's what gave me confidence in predicting what I predicted, thinking what I think. And if we find out that that's rotten or that root system has been corrupted, that would surprise me. However, it would be one of the only ways to explain what we saw the other day. And I think the more troubling thing there is, David, they were of the opinion in the building, we've got it right. They're very confident, very confident. So sometimes you've been around this long enough. Sometimes you get a result on Saturday, and if you know people in programs, they will have told you, yeah, this is probably going this way. Don't feel great about this. Don't feel great about that. There was none of that from Alabama. So they're just as stunned as anyone else. DeBoer said that in his presser yesterday. Womack said that. We were, in fact, Kane Womack's the defensive coordinator there. Someone asked him about being unprepared. He said, no, we were not unprepared. We didn't get anything that surprised us. Every look we got, we practiced. Everything that they showed us, we expected them to show us. It was not a matter of unpreparedness, which means it's mental in nature.
Josh, this is not even a working theory. I just thought of it right now. But maybe we're in this new world of college football, and this is going to happen to a team every year. So go back to 22 with A&M. You go back to Florida State last year. I'm sure there's a couple in the middle that, like, you can't explain it. Great practice, great talent. Like, you think the culture's fine until it's not. Maybe that's just where, could it be that's where we are?
Yes. So there are certain programs, I'm not going to say they're immune from it. They're not immune from it. There are certain ones that I don't expect to be victimized by that. Georgia's one, Ohio State's one. I believed Alabama was one. And it just may be that no one is immune from it. It may be that. And I'll tell you what the close cousin of that is. The next train car in that train is the definition of how bad it can be, the floor for these teams. It was for a long time for the elite programs. If everything goes off the rails, it's a 9-3 season. That's the worst it could get. Maybe 8-4 if you play an extremely tough schedule, but that's the worst it's going to get. And we're talking about like 3 or 4 programs there. I don't know that exists anymore, David. I think the floor, Florida State was like an extreme example of this last year. The floor is the same way as if you're driving on the interstate. Normally, you've got a median, you've got a shoulder, you've got guardrails. So even if you go sideways, the worst that's going to happen is you're going to hit the guardrail. I think of college football now as same interstate, same speed. There are no guardrails. So if you go sideways, it's just off a cliff. And there's no limit to how far you can fall. And that's uncomfortable for a lot of people, including me, because it's a brand new world. But if you don't think Alabama could miss a bowl game, you don't understand the world we're in. We're absolutely in a world where if it goes bad, it's going to go really, really bad. So they play UL Monroe this week. They play Wisconsin the next week. Then they got to bye. Then they go to Georgia. And they've been bad on the road. I mean, that's a multi-year trend now. So I don't know, man. I do know that you and I sat here for months, and we agreed with each other that this was going to be the most chaotic season we've seen in a while. There were going to be some teams left for dead early on that got their act together. Maybe this is one of them. Like, I do have that voice in the back of my head telling me, don't forget what you said in the summer. So maybe this is one of them. I'm just going to have to see it to believe it.
All right, so I'm going to go, people overreact after week 1. I'm going to overreact for a minute, okay, because it's fun. I still think Texas is going to be really good, playoff good. But now I see a world after losing your first game of, but hold on. That Florida game, not that far away, followed by Oklahoma, okay? I think going to Florida is going to be a real challenge for Texas or any team, right? Like at night, the way they could be playing. Now I look at them as like, they should, because I think they were the better team than Ohio State. It's hard to say that out loud because they were down by 14, but I just felt like they just didn't take advantage of their opportunities. But let's just say, for instance, how rocky of a season could it be for Texas, considering now they have one loss. They got that road game at Florida. That'll probably be a night game. They've got Oklahoma, who looks way better. And, oh, by the way, you still got to go to Georgia. And hopefully A&M is who we think A&M is.
I don't know what month it is, but I will encourage the viewers to crawl into the TexAgs archives with you and I talking. Remember, I floated this. Them being a 2-loss team going into the Red River game, I floated this. I got excoriated, not by you, of course, but I got excoriated for it. That's impossible. They're the preseason favorite. They got the Heisman favorite. Storylines are not real. Football's real. What happens between the lines is real. It wasn't even crazy as a concept to me. They're going into Columbus, Ohio, a very competitive game. They could lose that. They could straight up lose in Gainesville against Florida. And that wouldn't even mean they're not a good team. They're just tough spots to go play. So now here they are. They're a 1-loss team. That game at Florida is going to be a knife fight one way or the other. And then they're going to go to Dallas and play OU. All of their tough games with a new starter at quarterback are away from home this year, except A&M at the end of the year. So it was never unfathomable to me. You asked how bad could it be? They could be a 4 or 5 loss team. That's how bad it could get if they lost all of their losable games. And that's without really big upsets happening. That stuff it's so more possible than people want to realize. A lot of people's minds are still in this world where best case is 12-0. Like I said, worst case is 9-3, 8-4. Nobody's worst case is only 8-4. The only time you get that is if maybe you play a schedule like Penn State's. You got so many returning starters. There's so much certainty on your team, but there's no complacency because they haven't won anything. and you play Oregon and Ohio State, and those are the only two games that should be point spread competitive. Otherwise, you got to screw up to lose those games. So maybe 9-3 is the floor for Penn State. Outside of that, everybody's floor is lower than 9-3, 8-4, 7-5. David, I would suggest to you there's going to be a 7-5 team out there at the end of the year that you and I look at and say, no, they don't deserve to be in the playoff, of course, but that team right there, let's just say we changed their record as is. We put that team as is in the playoff. I think they could do some damage. I guarantee you we end up saying that about somebody.
I think that's a wonderful point. Overreacting. And OB said I might be overreacting a little bit too much on this. LSU defense, show me something. And look, I don't know if that means they're a national championship threat or not. I mean, they're obviously a top 10 team for a reason. But I think going on the road against an ACC favorite, regardless of what has happened to Clemson in their season opener last year and years past, LSU showed me something. What did they show you?
Yeah, it's a big deal. I don't think it's an illusion or a mirage. I kept thinking to myself, what if they had Blake Baker a couple of years ago when Jaden Daniels was there? That's the first thing I kept thinking. I was a little bit still out on them. I picked them to go 8-4. I was a little bit out on them for two reasons. One was offensive line, and we'll see that, the ground game, like we'll see if it's there consistently. Felt good about the week one performance, like page 1 of the book. But defense is the story, clearly the story with this team. Because what happened last year is you had to ask Nuss to do too much because of defense and because of run game or lack thereof. Ironically, that may be the mess Clemson's gotten themselves in. Going to have to ask Klubnik to do too much because they can't run the ball. Well, LSU looks far more complimentary as a team. Talent was never a question. I've never said the word talent in a pejorative manner with LSU a single time this spring and summer. I wanted to know if all the facets were there. It is week one. I want to be very careful about it, but that's about as encouraging a performance as I saw from any team that I had quote unquote questions about. Tennessee's offensive line was another one that looked incredible, albeit it was Syracuse, but still looked incredible because I thought that game would be close. I thought it would be a little risky for them, so they pulled away. All credit to them. But yeah, LSU, they answered a lot of questions to me. That's 1 week now. So now you got to stack those results on top of each other.
Josh, I think national analysts, you have so many games to kind of absorb that you look at the big storylines that come out of a game. So when you look at the A&M UTSA game, some people are like, look at the rush yards they gave up. And I certainly think that is a storyline to consider. But the other part is, look at that A&M offense. What were your takeaways from A&M's win over UTSA? They have Utah State coming up. And especially the way that offense looked.
The offense was the takeaway for me. I know a lot of times now you got to help me out on this. Like a lot of times in week one, who else was it? There was another team that gave up a little bit more than they'd be comfortable with, but they rotated. Tennessee. It's Tennessee. Tennessee rotated so many guys in defensively. They had 21 different guys make a tackle in a game against Syracuse. So with A&M, I looked at the offense. And I know, and there was also like a backdoor cover, I think, which makes the natives none too pleased. I had UTSA plus the points, so that didn't upset me. But from the A&M side of things, I understand the defensive numbers in the box score a little bit more than you're comfortable with. That's been what everyone's talked about all spring and summer. Offensively, though, it sounded that right there, David. I got some of that finally. So I don't know. What was your personal read defensively? What was your takeaway on that?
Honestly, it was 4 or 5 plays that made up the bulk of those yards.
Right.
And that's been their story the last few years, Josh. But after that 75-yard touchdown, the defense, Coach Elko had a few words for that defense, and they changed things around. I mean, there were 6 straight punts. They scored a garbage time touchdown on the backup. So I feel like they addressed the issue, they fixed it, and they moved on.
Yeah, so I think sometimes if you're not playing a marquee opponent in week one, everybody classifies it as you're either playing a Power 4 team, top 25 team, or you're playing a tomato can. And the fact of the matter is UTSA would themselves be a multi-touchdown favorite over some of the teams that other, premier teams played in week one. I don't think there's a proper understanding of quality of opponent is what I'm trying to say. So you almost take it as an insult when UTSA has the audacity to even compete against you. And it's It's not a bad program. So it's not the biggest shock in the world when they do a little more than just lay there and say, all right, club us to death. That's not what you even want to see in week 1.
Hey, Josh, can you, for a moment, model that shirt? I don't think I've seen this one. Is this a new Pate State shirt?
Oh, I don't even know that we have this one for sale. Look at that. Look at that strength and conditioning.
Look at that, man. I like that. Hey, before I let you go, I actually made this comment to OB. I didn't give it any thought, okay? I just said it in the moment. If you're ever the commissioner of college football, and I'm your chief of staff, okay? How do you like this idea? It's a terrible idea, but I'm going to throw it out at you. If you get blown out,
I love it.
No, this is why I like it. If you get blown out, you can't go to the playoffs. Sorry, you lose by 30 to Georgia in week 1, you can't go. Now, that might mean we get a lot of bad teams in the playoffs, but just chew on that for a moment.
Is that it? If you get blown out. So how do we define a blowout?
Let's go 18 points or more.
18 or more. Wow. So that's 3 plays.
Mm-hmm.
If 3 plays go the wrong way, I am a fan. So this put into the blender, and then if I give feedback, I would ask you, all right, if we're going to consider that, do we consider a rule that would have kept Notre Dame out last year? If you lose to a Northern Illinois at home, that caliber of upset,
that's
do
the
we
flaw.
keep you out?
That's the flaw in the system. I recognize it. But I also have a hard time thinking, God, if you just get your butt kicked, do you really need to be, one of the teams that can win it all? And then I had a qualifier, because it was real time thinking. And I was like, but if your quarterback's missing because he's hurt, maybe I'll give you a benefit of the doubt. If it happens in the first month of the season, maybe I'll give you the benefit of the doubt. But at the end of the day, teams that get blown out, should they be in the playoffs?
So then there's several problems with it. One is if Pate State's playing Nuño Tech over there, Nuño Tech gets out to a 14-0 lead, and I just feel there's no energy. Do I just tell my quarterback fake injury, sit the rest of the week so that down the road we can say, well, our quarterback got hurt in that game? Or do I fake? Afterwards, do I say, well, he was playing with a rib injury. We didn't disclose it pregame, but he was banged up, I almost said knocked up, which also would be a problem for the quarterback. And then the third thing is, all right, what if Nuño Tech's ranked number 1 in the country and you beat me 24-0? But over here, like Lucci A&M, they win by 3 against a team they were favored by 50 against. He had the worst afternoon performance-wise than me, but I'm being punished. We got to work this through. We got to workshop this.
It's not good, but I like the idea. At the moment I said it, and then as I talked it out loud, I was like, terrible idea. Hey, Josh.
I do like that there's some parameters. I do like that there's some things that are just throat / middle of the season. You're done. Sorry. You didn't get it done here.
Hey, man, great stuff as always. Appreciate you, brother.
Appreciate it, man.
See ya. Josh Pate on the Buffy's Catering Bartending Hotline. When we come back, Jamie McCoy, the real McCoy. A moment for Caldwell Country Chevrolet, Highway 21 in Caldwell, online, CaldwellCountryChevrolet.com. If you're looking for a selection and you don't want it to break the bank, and I know all of you do, Caldwell Country Chevrolet is always stocking up on their new vehicles, and their inventory is growing daily. And they're south of those big city prices with no dealer add-ons. What you see is what you pay. They're locally owned, they're Aggie owned and operated, and they're ready to roll out the red carpet for you and talk about value. Every vehicle comes with that free oil change for life, and that's thousands of dollars in savings throughout the life of your vehicle. And they have pre-owned inventory that is moving fast. That means you'll get top dollar for your trade-in. So make sure you check them out. It's about a 15-minute drive. The edge of Bryant to the beginnings of Caldwell. Short conversation away, but you'll see the difference when you step on the lot and do business with the great people at Caldwell Country Chevrolet. Highway 21 in Caldwell, online, CaldwellCountryChevrolet.com. All right, we're back. TexAgs Live, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers, Rollo Insurance Studio. Hour number 2 of the program. We move on to the Buppy's Catering and Bartending Hotline. Jamie McCoy, the real McCoy, joining us here on the program to break down the A&M victory. Jamie, what's up, man?
What's going on, David? I'm feeling the salmon.
Yeah, you like that?
Oh yeah.
Hey, I guess I want to start things off with offensive questions. Marcel Reed. I thought he looked really good. I think yesterday I said he was, I forget the word I used, but he was good. And I think he was better than just good. And I probably undersold it a little bit. What did you think of his performance?
Man, I thought he did well as well. I would give it a B+. Not that he did anything wrong, but I just know what all he can do and potentially can do with his feet. And he hadn't really been called on to do that yet, but I just know what the total package can be. But I thought he looked so much better delivering the ball. His feet were where they needed to be. There were probably 3 or 4 throws I saw that had just zip going over the middle of the field, kind of like I call it a one ball. Just looked good. Looked like he knew where the receivers were supposed to be. He had command of the offense, and he just kept us moving the chains. There never seemed to be any panic, which we've sometimes had in these first couple of games against lesser opponents. But overall, I was impressed by Marcel. He did what he needed to do.
All right. Well, then, not only was he good, but the playmakers he has to his disposal now, when you've got Casey making plays, Mario making plays, how about those new additions?
I mean, I love them. It's been a while since we've had some pop and pizzazz like that in our offensive scheme. But I love those guys putting their hands in the pile. Craver and Concepcion look to be great additions. Seem to be quick and able to get open. I can't wait for us to get Bethel Roman involved and taking shots downfield. And then the best kept secret is Terry Bussey, and we still, I don't think, have utilized him to his best potential. But I know that they know what we have in the stalls, and I know they're going to find ways to get him involved. So I'm looking forward to that. And then we had some tight ends put their hand in the pile as well. So that was great to see.
Talking to Jamie McCoy here on TexAgs Live. Jamie, the tight end group, they weren't used a whole bunch, but the way they were used, I thought was really nice to see. Nate Bergershire with a couple of big catches, Theo with the touchdown, Amari Nyblack had a catch. What did you see from the group as a unit?
I just saw them when they did have to block. They seemed to be doing a good job. I didn't see anybody make a ME or make a mistake that caused a loss of yards on the play. So that was good. That was a bonus to see. Having 3 of them catch balls during a game, that's something that we hadn't had at A&M in a long time. So I think they'll be able to, like I said, help put their hand in the pile as well when we come to opponents that start trying to take away those speedier assets for us. So what I think we hang our hat on this year is running the ball and exposing guys in that fashion, and we didn't really run the ball as much as I know that we will. So we didn't really get to see their full effect, but I think that these guys are ready and willing, and I can't wait to see them get more involved as we get deeper into this season. Is it that a concern for you that they didn't try to run the ball that much, or was it, look, UTSA is doing this defensively, let's use our new weapons, and we can get back to this because we know we can get back to this? I think it's more the latter. To me, the thing that I wanted was for us not to have to do too much that we'd expose and give extra stuff for Notre Dame to see on film. So the fact that we didn't run as much as I know we will, it didn't bother me at all because, one, we're not putting stuff on tape, schemes that we want to use, and then 2, there's no need. We know what we're capable of if we really want to go out there and try to manhandle UTSA, and the risk just isn't worth it to potentially lose any of the guys, Amari, Ruben, Le'Veon. It just wasn't worth it. I like that each guy got to touch the ball, got to get a feel, and you get to go back this week and get another week of practice and just kind of build on that. So, again, moving forward this week, I hope it's the same thing. Don't use too much. Maybe run the ball 15, 20 times and let Marcel keep getting his arm and his receivers touches just so should they try to take that away in that Notre Dame game, we know that we have something we can fall back on and kind of be balanced.
Jamie, defensively, they ran on A&M quite a bit, talking about UTSA, and then they didn't. So is your takeaway, man, you gave up over 200 yards rushing and one dude had 75 yards, or is your takeaway, yeah, that wasn't a good start, but they fixed it?
More the latter again. It wasn't a good start. I mean, anytime you have a back go over 100 yards, I know for a defense, you're going into the game saying, let's not let the team have over 100 yards rushing. So for us to give up that many yards rushing is kind of, you could say concerning, but I'm not concerned. It's one of those things where I love it because you got out of there with the W and you got stuff that you can go put the tape on and kind of point to and say, hey, we coached y'all to do this. What are y'all doing right here on this play? What are you doing on this play? You see how if you do this or you do that, everything fits and we're where we need to be, and we stop plays from getting explosive like that. So anytime you got stuff like that, I think this is a great game tape that you can go back and show where we were flawed at and say, hey, if we got a guy fit this gap right here, none of this even happens. And you kind of, it's good for a defense, not just one person in particular, but it's good for a defense to see something and say, hey, they're right. They told us this. We did that, and this is what you get when you don't follow the game plan. So I love having that on tape just so it's something we can draw back on and say, let's not let this happen again moving forward.
Jamie, great stuff, bro. Talk to you next week.
All right, David. See you.
See ya. Thank you. Gig 'em. That is Jamie McCoy here on TexAgs Live. All right, guys, so we'll hit a break. Jamie Morrison will be in studio. Farming and ranching families do think different. It's not about working for day. It's about today. It's about building generations for them to learn about your land and be about that land. And that's why Heritage Films created Farm and Ranch Films, where they've documented timber farmer operations in Washington, cattle ranches in Texas, and agricultural legacies across America. These are not simply just documentaries. They're cinematic time capsules that capture your unique relationship with the land. Whether you're thinking of 20-year cycles or 100-year cycles, Farm and Ranch Films are going to preserve the wisdom and the work ethic and the values that make your family so, so special. And they do it, and it's an awesome, awesome experience. We're talking about 8 to 10 weeks to get it all done, but your family's going to enjoy that entire moment. And your family does deserve this level of craftsmanship. Visit yourheritagefilm.com and click on Farm and Ranch or call them up, 713-893-8341. It is Heritage Films. TexAgs Live, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers, Rollo Insurance Studio. A&M volleyball off to a perfect 3-0 start. Dominant sweep of Rice, and then a hard-fought comeback against Central Arkansas at the Rice Invitational. Jamie Morrison's with us here in studio. And just so you know, I was at Kyle Field. Two different times someone stopped me to say, when's Jamie coming on this week? Twice.
Man.
So there you go.
At Kyle Field.
At Kyle Field.
Man.
Once in the press box, by the way. So how are you, sir?
I'm doing great. I keep saying it. Our team's fun to be around right now. And I think every single day of practice, I enjoy going in and I enjoy coming out.
So I think the way, at least as a spectator and as a fan, and an analyst, I think a good weekend, a really good weekend, because you got to flex some muscles, you used a lot of players, and you also had to, your adversity was, you were tested.
Yeah, I think good parts. If I go back to the first set against Rice, that's probably, I don't know, as good as we can play right now, and obviously there's room to build on. And then pieces of that Central Arkansas, and I talked in the locker room that I hoped they pushed us. Mm-hmm. And maybe I shouldn't have said that as I was in the locker room, but they did push, and I'm happy with the response we had when our backs were against the wall. It wasn't panic. It wasn't anything along those lines. It was, here's what we're going to do to go win.
And you found a way to do it.
We found a way to do it.
And then in the Rice match, 32 kills, 10 blocks, 6 aces. Just a nice balance, though, of offense and defense.
Yeah. No, it was both sides. And I think they hit negative 2% efficiency or something like that. And it's really hard to hold a good team. And I think they were receiving votes in the top 25 poll. And they were picked to, or are picked to win their conference. And I think the fact that we were able to do that, and again, that first set, and I thought it kind of tailed off a little bit after that. And we talked about that as a team, but we got to be able to withstand that for 5 sets possibly. But I was pretty fired up with the performance we had.
Kendall led with kills in both matches. What makes her so reliable there?
I think one of the things just I noticed it in the Central Arkansas game when I put her in there was just she's got a moxie about her, and there's just a level of competitiveness that regardless of the situation, she's going to go out there and be herself. I think that's that, and then she's just a really well-rounded volleyball player. I think if you look at every skill, like she's going to be pretty elite in every single one. So I think it's both of those things combined.
And Maddie, the model of consistency, 2,500 assists I'm seeing.
That's cool. I actually didn't know she breached that milestone, but again, I've said it on the air over and over again. I think she's one of the most underrated players in the country. So really fired up with what she's doing right now.
Anybody in particular that I need to know about that, like, you know what, pay attention. This young lady's doing X, Y, or Z.
Yeah, I don't think in the right now, but I think I was trying to give Taryn Morris some experience in that because I think you're going to get to hear her name a lot next year. And you're going to hear it a little bit this year too. And she's going to find, I don't know, spaces to get into the match and contribute. But I think what she was able to do, and I started her in that Rice match for that reason of making sure that she has a start under her belt. She was pretty impressive. I think hit 300 and I think maybe led the team in kill, maybe not if Kendall came in and did what she did, but she had a really good match.
Yeah, Ava, we had her in studio a couple weeks ago. I told you I just love talking to her. Also, model of consistency as well.
Yeah, no, had a good weekend. And I think the thing I was fired up on is had some adversity and I think bounced back within it. So I think that's huge. And that's a huge piece of, I don't know, good teams and good players.
Coaching philosophy, when you have a successful weekend, but there's some takeaways like, hey, we need to be better at this, this, and this. Is that for you? I'm sure it's the best feeling when you're coaching with a win, right? But is that the best teachable moment for you?
I think great teams, yes. I think the most teachable moments are losses.
Right.
Like you always, I don't know, have the pain of that's going to fuel change. But I think you got to learn, especially when you're good, to kind of pick apart those wins and find the things that, hey, here's the things we're going to get better at. And I think the hard thing with our schedule right now is it's just back to back to back. We have 4 matches in 7 days right now. So it's a little bit less refining and a little bit more getting ready for what's coming. And then we get kind of a break to refine. So, and what we're going to mix that within. And we've talked about it throughout the season. I think I talked about it last week when I was on the air. Just yesterday was about, hey, like, what do we need to do better and finding those things. And today we'll start to bleed into a little bit of how we play Utah.
How does that recovery work at their age? They need to recover. You need to practice. Like, is there maybe a different level of intensity at a certain practice? Do you maybe, instead of going 50 minutes here, you go 40 minutes there? How does that work?
Yeah, so we have a sports scientist, Scott Batley, that's really, really good on the time piece. And I think there's a science to this and an art of this. Like the time piece is, and how, I don't know, dense our practice is something that we talk a lot about. So it'll be, hey, today, for example, we're going to go for an hour and 5 minutes, and it's going to be dense. It's going to be pretty high intensity in that hour and 5. But yesterday was an hour and 5, but a little less dense and a little bit slower. And I think the art piece is kind of knowing when to push and when to hold off. I think one of the things right now for me, it's a tough stretch. Like we're on the road a lot right now, and that takes some energy out of the system.
Mm-hmm.
And then I don't know, when we got back from first serve, when we got back from Sioux Falls, we got back at 3 a.m. Like that's going to take a lot out of the system. The girls had their first day of school the next day at 8 o'clock. And again, I've said it on the air. I think people forget that our athletes are students also.
Right.
For me, it's a little bit less pushy, a little bit less pressure filled right now, but knowing the time to squeeze. So I think that's the art piece of it.
Every year's different. Last year, your team found different ways to win.
Yeah.
Early in this season, we're seeing this team finds different ways to win.
Yep.
A little on that.
I said it last year. I can't remember when it was, but I said I'd take grit over skill any day. Like you want to have the combination of both, and I think we're getting to that point right now. We're a really good volleyball team that's finding ways to win in every single match, and we have to do that. And I'm just gonna the next stretch is hard. We have 3 ranked opponents. I think 2 of them are very underrated in terms of the rankings. Utah State's not ranked, but just had 2 really good wins this last weekend. And we're all playing them all in their home arena. It's not going to a tournament and playing at a neutral site. We're literally bouncing around like a professional team on a 4-game road trip.
Morgan and her blocks. Just talk about that.
I'm proud of her. We talked at the end of last season and kind of leading into the summer of ways that she could get better at that skill. And she came to me with it. I want to get better at this skill. And I think she's making strides there. I think she still has some room to improve, as our whole team does, which is amazing. That she's going to keep going on that. But man, the work put in has been pretty amazing.
All right, so you talked about this brutal stretch. Let's talk about them individually. Utah State this week.
Yep.
What makes both of those programs dangerous this week?
They're well coached, I think, is number one. I think I have a lot of respect for both head coaches that are in charge of those programs. I think Utah will go on them, just athlete for athlete. They have a player that I coached with U19 that's really good, a freshman that came in that I think is going to add to their program, and Devin Weist. So, and then she's mixing in with a bunch of veterans that have been there. So I think the outside hitter combo that you're going to see for them is really, really good. And you go to Utah State and they run fast. They're a really well-coached volleyball team. They're going to pass and defend and serve really, really well. So I think you look at both of those, are a little bit different, kind of the way they're going to go about stuff. But I think the coaching piece is the thing that I'm impressed by.
Is it the Utah game that's on national television?
Yeah, Utah, I think it's 7 p.m. our time, ESPN2. So I don't know what the local sponsor is of the show that might have TVs on, but there's a sports bar or something like that. I encourage you to put it on. And if somebody's in the general crowd, 7 p.m. ESPN2. And also just what we had on near 1 million people viewing one of the matches that really on in this thing. TV ratings are starting to do this, and more it happens, the more we're on bigger networks. So we had a game on ABC this last weekend of Kentucky and Nebraska.
That's normal cool. Now, though, right? Like it used to not be normal. Volleyball's on. Now it's like, volleyball's
now you're flipping through channels. And again, like girls make fun of me when I say it, but I literally just got chills of like, I do really love the sport, and the fact that it is growing the way it is huge to me. And I'm fired up on it.
You know that, I know, probably don't think of it this way, but you play a big part in that.
I came here for that reason, but the 12th man plays a big part of that.
Yeah.
Like I came here for that reason. Is like I saw what was happening in the sport, and I wanted to have a place where it could happen. And there's places where it can't. Like there's places where people don't necessarily care about the athletics at that school or care about, women's athletics. And this is a place that does support both of those things. And I do know, and I'm proud of it, that I have a role in that here, and I have a role in that nationally with the conversations that I have, and that's a big deal. So, and then I don't know, remiss if I go fast forward and say this again. SMU, I don't know if it's sold out yet, but it's close to. If it isn't, people up in the Dallas area, just highly encourage you, and then we get to come home.
Right.
And the other one I'd be remiss if I didn't say is like that home tournament's the last chance to get season tickets also. I didn't say this last week, but if you are interested, it's, an amazing deal. And we try to put an entertaining product both out on the floor and the way that we entertain the crowd. So please come out, buy season tickets.
Get those season tickets.
Yeah.
Coach, appreciate you, sir.
Always appreciate you.
Thank you very much. We'll hit a break. Gerrod Chadwell will join us on the other side right now. Rollo Insurance, the Rollo Insurance Group, is a group that's going to give you a personal agent and their direct phone number. So when you have insurance needs and questions about your policy, they're going to call. They're going to know your story. They're going to know your kids' names. And I'm telling you, Morgan's my guy at Rollo. He's going to take great care of you. Whoever's there, they're not a call center. They're the official insurance provider of TexAgs Live, and as I've mentioned before, the difference is real. 60 offices in the great state of Texas. Whether it's home, auto, or business or ranch, start a relationship with experts who put you first. They become familiar with your specific situation, and they provide a customized protection that mass market insurers simply cannot. When you need advice or a claim, you reach out to Rollo Insurance, and I'm telling you, you're going to love it. Visit rolloinsurance.com/TexAgs. That's rolloinsurance.com/TexAgs, or call them up. 888-44-ROLLO. That's 888-44-ROLLO. It's Rollo Insurance. All right, we're back here on TexAgs Live. We're presented by David Gardner's Jewelers Rollo Insurance Studio. Gerrod Chadwell will be here in a moment. He got stuck by that train, but they had a great weekend. A dominant performance at Pebble. Came away with a victory at the Carmel Cup by 26 strokes, led by Kata. Second largest margin of victory in his tenure. A statement to kick off the season. And with that, that's how I tap dance to get him in studio, the chit chat. My guy, Gerrod Chadwell. What's up, buddy?
College Station for a reason.
Let me see this real quick. All righty. See how I make sound effects when I talk? There we go. Now we're good.
You grunt like I do when you're leaning over, you're getting up.
Are you a big grunter when you lift weights?
No.
Okay.
I don't. No,
you don't make noises and everybody looks at you?
I'm not lifting weights to grunt.
No, me neither, believe it or not. So, okay, like, what a start, you know? Like,
our starts are pretty good.
What a great start.
Yeah. Our starts to the segments are always good, but
I don't think this is on. Let's. Oh, there we go. Cheerio.
Man, we're rocking and rolling.
There
now.
we are.
Off to a good start with this segment. Off to a good start with the season. It was pretty impressive in a sense of, you don't know. It's so early with just. It was the third day of school when we left, and so you saw qualifying with how sharp they showed up, and you're just hoping that carries over into the week. Which we had 3 new faces in the week as well, so you don't know how they're going to respond to team golf, to us, to the magnitude of being at Pebble Beach and competing. But man, was really impressed with the way we started, and probably more impressed with the way we finished.
Well, I was going to say, in football, we're trying not to overreact to everything that happened in week 1, right? Like A&M wise.
Are you sure about that?
Well, some things, maybe Alabama, but like you don't want to overreact. But what you all did this week, and not to overreact to it, and anoint you the national champions, but this shows you the potential,
without a doubt,
of this talent that you've put together.
Without a doubt, and it's I think hopefully with no different than any other sport on campus, like what that hopefully showed is our competitive depth. And look, I think there's some young ladies at home that are still going to play a lot of golf for us. So I think it's amazing, and I'm trying to do a better job at celebrating that because it's very hard to do, but also trying to. It's now we're still we went 1-0 last week. It's 0-0. Like we got to do the best job we can this week of turning around and having a really good week next week because we leave Friday for our next tournament. So I think that's what I've learned with the competitive bunches that we had before is like, man, it's just all right. We got to go back. Nobody's resting on their laurels, and we just got to keep competing because this fall season happens pretty quick.
What year is Kata?
This is just junior year.
I was going to say because in my mind she's still such a young player. And she is a young player.
Yes.
But she's done so much. Third collegiate title.
It's really being so close to the fire in a way. She struggled to her expectations and probably to her ranking her freshman year. And then, I think there was a lot of growth in that and had a good year last year. And Kata's such a gamer. I think she shot whatever it was, 66, 67, or 65, whatever it was in our final round at the regional when we needed the most. And as I said, I don't know whether it was before we left. I mean, she finished 5th in our qualifying, but then shows up and competes and really didn't have her best that week either. So it's exciting to see the growth that she has had on the golf course, and we're still pushing her to grow some more off the golf course.
I think it was last week you told me you may not be starting off with Pebble next year.
Yeah.
Sure about that? I
don't know. I truly believe that it's the last year. And Finn said that multiple times. There will be a tournament like that. I think we'll actually do it probably somewhere in the DFW Metroplex.
Okay.
But it's
Maggie's
just,
out there.
It's just expensive. And for those that, we pay $50,000 that we raise to go play. And that really just covers our room in the golf. It doesn't cover food. And so Finn Ewing picks up the tab for food, beverage, entertainment. We had, is it Oz, the Mentalist? Oz, have you seen him?
Yeah.
They had him as entertainment on Thursday night.
How was that?
It's insane.
Yeah.
It's absolutely insane. It's insane.
I'm kind of jealous. I wish I was there.
It was the whole, he did probably a 45 minutes to an hour bit, and it was from the first one to the last one, you're like, I have no idea how he just did that.
Is it Oz or Oz?
They said Oz, but you want to read it Oz.
Yeah, I was going to say, because I've seen like YouTube clips and stuff, but I would have thought.
It was crazy, man. It's crazy. Absolutely crazy.
We got a minute left.
Yes.
What's the next?
So we leave Friday for a tournament that we haven't played in, the Folds of Honor. It'll be on the Golf Channel Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. I'm not sure the time slots that we'll be in. But what I learned last year is the Folds of Honor is they raise money for scholarships for dependents of military fallen wounded soldiers. Texas A&M, as of last spring, had over 700 recipients. The next closest school was like 500 or 600 away from us. So that was my calling. Hey, we need to be involved in some way, shape, or form. Still learning about what we can do because they used to, you'd carry a bag of the fallen soldier and you would auction the money off at the end of you'd auction the bag off. The money at the end of the year would go to the scholarship. But I'm just excited to be a part of this event and seeing what we can do for such a great cause.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Appreciate you.
Yep.
When we come back, Jordan Pugh on TexAgs Live next year on the program. I wish I had Olin here for it because he loves energy drinks. Catalyst Citrus Spark. This is one of the new flavors out there. Whether you're grinding through workouts, cramming for a test, or closing in on a deal or getting ready for TexAgs Live, you never know, right? Fast becoming the go-to fuel for Aggies everywhere. Zero sugar. I'm all in for that. Or synthetic sweeteners, no artificial colors or flavors. Catalyst delivers clean, high-performance energy with smooth, crisp taste that is never syrupy, designed for both health and hustle. You want to get going? You use this Catalyst right here. It's about pure energy and pure results. And what sets them apart? Packed with premium nootropics blended to boost focus, clarity, and mental stamina. I need this. I'm in, guys. I'm in. Plus, with plant-based caffeine, vitamin B12, B6, Catalyst supports metabolism and energy production, making it more than a drink. It's your lifestyle training partner. Built for competitors on the field, Catalyst fuels strength, focus, and pure results. Buy now at drinkcatalyst.com. That is drinkcatalyst.com. Train harder, think sharper, pure results. It's Catalyst. Let's keep it real here on the program. TexAgs Live, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers, Rollo Insurance Studio, hour number 3 of the show. We go to the Puppy's Catering and Bartending Hotline, and we're going to keep it real with Jordan Pugh. Good morning, sir.
What's going on, man? How you doing?
I'm good, man. Missed you last week. How's your family doing?
Man, everybody's good, man. I told you about my dad. He's still in the hospital, but he's on the other side of it now.
Good.
So now they're looking at hopefully getting him out this week, getting him back home, and getting up and rolling. So between that and between the 6-month-old I have at the house, man, we're rolling over here.
Well, just know we've been praying for you, man. Let's talk about Aggie football this weekend. Any major takeaways from what you saw against UTSA?
Takeaways. I'm kind of impartial. Okay. Let me tell you why. So the positives. I thought that the passing game really progressed for Marcel. I thought he did a better job really growing in the pass concepts. I thought that Klein used him really well. A lot of the passes that opened up, especially along the seams, a lot of the dig routes, they manipulated the defense based off his running threat and running ability. So I thought that was really good. And I think that's an element, man, that we're going to be able to use later on down the line throughout the season. Defensively, I thought one of the keys I had was the defensive backs. I thought they played well as a unit. I didn't think they had a lot of threats downfield, but I thought overall they played well, especially Ratcliffe. I thought Ratcliffe had a hell of a game. Filling in on runs, being able to be in position on pass plays, I thought that was good. The negatives, the one bugaboo that I can't get past is we still are not fitting the runs correctly. For the life of me, I don't know why we can't get that down yet. Our edges are not secure. We're not forcing the ball back into our interior help. We're crashing inside a lot and letting the ball bounce. I thought the running back for UTSA, I thought he was elite. I think he's an NFL-style back, man. He's a really good player. But with that being said, we didn't get a lot of penetration upfield defensively, and we let those edges really hurt us. And then from an offensive perspective, man, not being able to run the ball, that was more of a surprise to me. For them to outrush us, I think we had maybe 100 yards, if not a little bit over that, with the type of talent and then the type of line that we have, man. That's unacceptable on my end. I just think we have to be better at that. There were shades of when we played Sam Houston State. I want to say it was Jimbo's last year, kind of reminded me of that at the beginning, the first quarter into the second, then we caught our groove. But I think, man, we got some explosive playmakers on the at the receiver position with KC, with Craver. I mean, I think we got dudes there. I think, our back end played better. I love our linebacking core with Scooby and York. We just got to fix up those little things, man, because when you go up and you step up in talent with Notre Dame coming in 2 weeks, the SEC level play, we got to be able to hone that in, man, because that's going to bite us if we don't fix that.
All right, so when we talk about this defense, and I know you saw some issues there, what about the way they responded? Okay, you give up that touchdown, that 75-yarder to Robert Henry, and then you make some adjustments and you force 6 straight punts. Am I overreacting to that, or did you see something? All right, they cleaned up, in your opinion, what they needed to clean up.
I think they cleaned it up for the caliber of opponent that we played. I'm still seeing too many missteps. So let's go back to South Carolina last year. South Carolina, you saw it really spear its head against South Carolina. We couldn't keep contained. We were out of our gaps. We weren't filling correctly. And then you saw that kind of spill over, right? So we had that 3-4 game losing streak that we had towards the end of the year. But one of the things that I wanted to see short was that run game. And I understand that, sometimes it's a lack of experience. We had young guys in there playing, but also at the same time, you're talking about the fundamentals of defense, right? You always have a force contained player. You always have a guy who's there to fill the gaps. What I saw too many times in watching the game, going back and rewatching it, you saw players playing out of gaps. There was a few times that the linebackers were downhill too fast. And then our 2 interior defenders were 2-gapping a lot. I think that if we can fine-tune that and get guys gap sound, but also understand their fit in their place, man, we null and void a lot of the run game. That's just one of those things. Maybe I'm just scarred from last year. Maybe I'm scarred from what I saw. But, man, we got to be able to fine-tune that, because if we can fine-tune that, man, we can make a lot of noise this season, man, especially on defense.
Talking to Jordan Pugh here on TexAgs Live, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers Rollo Insurance Studio. Okay, let's go a little deeper on Marcus Radcliffe, because the PFF grades were great. The eyeball test was great. He's put on some strength, and it looks like he belongs, right?
Yeah, man, he looked good, man. Like, out of all the players that stood out this week, man, I thought he was the one who stood out the most, man. I thought he was the best player on the field defensively for us, but he was everywhere. It's not only that he had the playmaking ability, because he had that last year, but when you look at the spatial awareness that he played with, when you looked at him in zone concepts, man, understanding holes within the zone, understanding what the offense was trying to do, and the way that he filled gaps in the run game, he played fast. I thought out of everybody on the defensive side of the ball, he was the one who was playing with urgency and speed, because he knew what was coming. That's what it looked like from my end, right? Now, we understand week 1, man, you're getting acclimated. There's no preseason games for us. So, man, you don't really take a lot into week 1, but the things that you can take and you really want to highlight is what he did. Play with urgency, play with confidence, play with conviction. And, man, I think that was a big step from last year and going into this season into game 1, man. You saw a true maturation process with him, man. I was impressed by how he played.
Talking to Jordan Pugh here, TexAgs Live, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers Rollo Insurance Studio. The corners, okay? Will Lee does what Will Lee does. I was impressed with Des Ricks. I was impressed with Julian Humphrey, considering not only like UTSA, what they do is they pass. They spread you out and they pass. I think these guys did a really. We know the concerns with the run game, but they did a really good job. Do you agree?
Yeah, I thought overall, man, just with the secondary play, I thought that they did what they were supposed to do. They honed in, right? One of the things, we gave up too many explosive plays last year, and you wanted to see that condensed. Now, a lot of that goes with rush. All that goes together. But when you saw guys man up, play well, stay connected to the receiver, when you're looking at zone defenses that we ran and everybody was in position, the one thing that you want to see is guys in position constantly. And that's what you saw. And look, UTSA is a pretty good football team. I don't think, man, they're the lower level teams that of the past that you're supposed to run through. They have some talent up there. But man, looking at the cohesion of the group, you could see where Elko's handprint was on that, right? You saw a difference in how they moved, how they communicated pre-snap, how they communicated post-snap. I thought that was big. I thought there was a big maturation process there. But most importantly, man, you got your core nucleus back. You got Chappelle back in the nickel spot. You know, you're solidified with Lee, Anderson. All those guys are there. Now you're plugging and playing the right pieces, man, in order to find that cohesion so everybody can play well together.
Were you able to see anything from Tyreek Chappelle? First time back here in a year. Did he show up to you at all?
I saw a few flashes in the run game, right? But I don't think he really had a lot of opportunities this week, right? I think, you know, as we get further along, we get into the Notre Dame week, you'll see him really start to make his mark as the level of play, the level of opposition, the level of offensive coordinator will really start to show his head, right? So I think getting him back in the groove, man, just getting his confidence back, man. When you're coming back from a long layoff, when you're coming back from injuries, whatever that is, part of that is just the mental game. Hey, man, can I just make it through this? And that's a real reality for a lot of guys. So, man, getting the rhythm back in the flow, now getting into his groove, I think you'll see him really shine. But also, I think the level of opposition, the level of coordinator, the type of offenses will really allow him to showcase his skill set later on this year.
All right, let's go to the offense. So the run game. I understand why some people are concerned. I get it. I'm going to tell you why I'm not concerned, okay?
Okay.
They didn't try to run. When they did try to run, you know, Ruben had a 30-yard run. Le'Veon, 3 carries for 19 yards. Look, to me, like, I'm not concerned yet. How about that? Because I think Le'Veon is Le'Veon. We know who he is, and that offensive line is still that same offensive line. So, to me, I am not worried about that. And the beauty is, okay, you want to load the box? We have now proven we can throw. We have now proven that if we give the ball to KC and Mario in space, you're going to. So, if they start focusing on that, they're not going to load the box. Am I wrong here?
No, but yes. Okay, so I'm going to go on a wild assumption. You watch Alabama, Florida State, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Florida State physically dominated Alabama like we haven't seen in a long time. The one thing that always travels is the run game. Because you can have days, man, it's just not clicking offensively for whatever reason, man. Because you're looking at just concepts where the ball has to be in the air. There's so many factors. There's wind, there's rain, there's guys slipping, there's whatever that may be. But the one thing that travels is the run. I am slightly concerned because the level of talent that we have on the offensive line, the NFL talent that we have on the offensive line, and the NFL talent that we have at the running back position, we should be able to assert our authority, especially against a UTSA, a Utah State, whatever that is. We have the bodies and we have the people. Now, I agree with you when you say that we weren't necessarily focused on the run because I believe that was the case based off the play calling. Getting Marcel into a rhythm, allowing him to be a passing threat because we know he's a running threat. And then when we mix all those together, when we mix the run threat with the 3 backs that we have, the 3-headed monster that we have, along with the quarterback, allowing 4 key runners, and then we can mix that pass concept in there, that makes us a dangerous offense. But man, against Utah State, we really need to establish the run game. There was too many times that it took the play too long to develop. It's too many lateral runs for me. I don't like that. We got to be able to get downhill, especially with a guy like Le'Veon Moss. You're looking at Ruben Owens, who's an explosive home run hitter. Man, those guys got to get downhill now. And I think part of it could be, hey, man, let's try this now. Week 1, let's put it on film so guys can game plan for it. But it is a concern because we weren't moving people off the spot from our offensive line perspective. I thought we did a great job in our pass protection. I thought we really did better in that aspect. But from a run game standpoint, I didn't see a lot of displacement. And that has me slightly concerned. I'm not in any DEFCON mode, But man, we got to be better at that. We got to assert our authority, and that's a mindset issue. That's more what I'm speaking to now.
Okay. So if this week that is corrected against an inferior opponent in Utah State, like again, I'm just going back to last year. Until they give me a reason not to believe they can do what they did last year, I'm going to believe that they can do what they did last year.
Yes. And when you look at it, like, look, talent-wise, we got the talent to compete with anybody. That's not the issue. Now it's taking those pieces, man, and it's putting a coordinated effort together, man, in order to be effective and score touchdowns, man, score points. The biggest thing is this, like you said, there's no reason to freak out. Week 1 is the biggest liar in college football, right? Guys look phenomenal in week 1, and then they drop off the face of the earth, right? There's teams that look terrible week 1, all of a sudden they go on a run. Week 1 is more, we got to get the kinks out, right? This week or this year, it wasn't a Notre Dame. It wasn't a big boy out of the jump, right? So when you look at those things from an evaluation standpoint, from a coaching perspective, if I'm looking at it and I'm in those rooms, the thing that I know that's going to carry us throughout the season, that's going to carry us through this SEC schedule, is that 300 months where we got it running back. Because if we can run that football, we can let Casey go to work one-on-one. We can let Mario Craver go to work one-on-one. And we can start implementing our tight ends because we can manipulate the defense based off what the run game gives us. So we have got to make a concerted effort in order to make, in order to impose a threat to the defenses, man, but also build that chemistry and that flow on offense to allow Colin Klein to be able to call whatever he wants.
Talking to Jordan Pugh here on TexAgs Live. All right, Jordan, let's talk a little bit about the special teams because we've mentioned Casey and Mario, and then Terry Bussey. Just that it is one of the parts of the game that we all know is important, but I'm not saying you, but a lot of people don't think about it until you have to think about it negatively or positively. That was a big part of what got them going offensively.
Man, it's a spark plug. Special teams is, you might get 10 to 12 a game, right? But when you're looking at it, man, those are the things that can spark an offense depending on where you are, or defense, depending on the defense is coming on the field. Man, those things, the thing about special teams is they are game-changing plays, right? And so when you look at what Casey did on that, was the punt return, when he had that punt return for touchdown, man, that's a huge spark. That's a catalyst, right? Sometimes you just need the juice to go. And when he hit that, all of a sudden we started catching the flow, especially offensively. Man, look, I think overall, like, our threats on the outside are extremely better than what we had last year. I mean, we have dudes on the outside. But, man, when you look at the special teams, you're looking at your better players playing that, man, you got Casey back there, man, you got Terry Bussey back there, you got explosive home run hitters. You got your best guys running down on kickoff punt, man. That is crucial because those are swing plays, right? Just like an interception can be a swing play. A fumble, for example, could be a swing play. Those special teams plays are swing plays, so they are vital, man, in order to get things going, build momentum, but they can also kill momentum as well. So, man, the special teams was a big plus to what we had, and I think we got game changers on that side of the ball.
Did you, I don't know how much of the Miami and Notre Dame game you watched, but more impressed with what Miami was able to do or maybe what Notre Dame wasn't able to do? And how does that translate potentially here in a couple of weeks when A&M's got to go to South Bend?
I was more impressed with Notre Dame than I was Miami. All right. So, I was in the hospital with my dad, so I was able to catch the back end of it. So I was in and out on the first half. But then the second half, Notre Dame has a lot of resilience. That's one thing I can say about Notre Dame, man, watching them, the resilience that they have. But they're a scrappy bunch, but I think they understand who they are. They got better playmakers to me on the outside this year, but then Jeremiah Love is a problem. Mm-hmm. I think that they didn't utilize Jeremiah Love a lot. And when I'm giving the analysis from our defense, from our run game, I'm looking at it from that perspective because I know when that guy touches the ball and he sees the amount of holes that we had, he's going to exploit them. And we're talking about touchdowns. You see what I'm saying? So, man, looking at Notre Dame, I think they played well. I think they gave Miami a lot more plays than Miami earned. I think Notre Dame is a very good football team, but they have a very good nucleus and they have an identity, right? When we go up against them, the one thing that we got to define, especially going into this week, is we got to define an identity. We got to define that on defense. We got to define that on offense. Who are we going to be? And then we have to be able to stick with that. We have the pieces. Now it's finding out, all right, man, how do these pieces make the puzzle? Once we do that, man, I think we can go with anybody in the country. Talent-wise, we can stack with anyone. It's just putting that all together.
So the one thing that I was hoping to see was a quarterback at Notre Dame look flustered, kind of like what we saw in the Texas-Ohio State game. I didn't see that. I thought that quarterback actually got better as the game went on. Arch got better as the game went on, too. But And I was kind of hoping for CJ to struggle a little bit. I didn't see a quarterback. I mean, he wasn't fantastic, but he was pretty darn good.
That it's the poise, right? It's the resilience. I look at Marcus Freeman is doing a hell of a coaching job at Notre Dame, but when I looked at that team, I saw a nucleus. I saw a core group, right? There was no panic. There was no outburst, man. It was a team that was steady, and they knew if we just made certain plays, we get back in this game. This is what we need to prepare for. This, we had our week 1 with UTSA. We have to be able to prepare for that opponent with not UTSA, but Utah State. We got to be able to put our pieces together because we can match blow for blow, athlete for athlete. That's never been the question. Schematically, fit, responsibilities, discipline, those are going to be the keys for us. If we want to get to where we want to get to, if we want to make that SEC title run, that playoff run, man, the barometers and everything that you do from week to week is judged on a national championship scale. So that's how we have got to function from a team standpoint. If we function from that, if we operate from that level, if we operate with the end in mind, understanding that everything is an individual climb to the mountain, dude, we'll have success. But man, what I saw with UTSA was minor discipline things, but you cannot let those things carry over. You have to let them die weekly. And if we can get that done, man, we'll shine.
Jordan, I'll close out with this. Is there anything you saw from SEC teams that give you, hey, the SEC is wide open and A&M can do this, or maybe a little bit of pause, like what you saw from LSU, what you saw or lack of what you saw from Texas, Alabama? Like when you look at the SEC and what you're able to take in, do you still feel good about where A&M is in the hierarchy?
I always feel good about A&M because the one thing that A&M has is talent. It's about putting those pieces together. Now, I think South Carolina is going to be a problem. I really think they're going to be a problem. They have a hell of a quarterback. They have a hell of a defense, along with top-tier defensive players. LSU, not sold yet. I understand Garrett Nussmeier, and everybody's high on him. I think he's average at best. I think he's around a lot of talented players, but I don't think he's the player that takes them over the top. Arch, I'm not surprised by Arch. One, you're stepping in to the starting role, so it's not spot play. 2, you're going against an elite level defense. 3, the game looked too fast for Arch. He looked like, man, this is moving faster than I thought. We'll see how that goes, because now you're talking about a mental game, a mental warfare that they has to play on that end. The one team that scares me, or there's really 2 teams. There's 2 teams that really have my antennas up. It's Oklahoma and it's Florida. And I think Oklahoma and Florida are going to surprise a lot of people. I think they've been building correctly the right way. I think they have the key pieces in place, and I think they have 2 dynamic players and their quarterbacks. I think the quarterbacks are the game changers. You saw that with Florida State. One positional player changed the whole outcome. And when I look at those 2, man, I think they're dark horses in the SEC. But for me, as far as the Aggies are concerned, we always have it. We have never been shy of talent. Let's put it together now. Let's put the whole puzzle together. And you almost have me cuss on here. Let's win this thing, because I believe that we have the ability. I believe the SEC is for the taking. I really do.
Jordan, I appreciate you, brother. Talk to you next week.
Yes, sir, man. Let's do it.
Later, man. Jordan Pugh on the Bumpy's Catering and Bartending Hotline. We'll hit a break, and we'll come back with Coach G talking a little A&M soccer. Aggieland Hydration and Injectables. They are Aggie-owned and operated. They're a mobile IV hydration company that was founded just a couple years back, actually about just over a year ago. And Sheldon and Danny are the owners of that company, and they're great. They're great people. You're going to love when you deal with them. Whether you're looking for a quick boost of hydration or dehydration preventative, they can tailor an IV cocktail specific to your needs. But I ask you, why would you want one of these? Well, I'll tell you why. Because sometimes you don't feel good, right? You have a busy weekend doing yard work. You go to a festival. You go out late night partying and drinking, whatever it may be, and you feel drained and down, or you don't want to feel drained and down. That's why you reach out to Aggieland Hydration and Injectables. Their overall mission is to bring a personalized and accessible wellness option to a broader range of clientele here in the Brazos Valley, and they want to make sure that you get your necessary vitamins and your minerals. To book an appointment or inquire about those services before your next event, text them or call them 979-217-1561. That's 979-217-1561. It's Aggieland Hydration and Injectables. Soccer time here on TexAgs Live, presented by David Gardner Jewelers, Rollo Insurance Studio. Got Coach G in studio to talk about a successful week. Oh, you got a game and a half in. How do you feel about where you are?
Right now, undefeated. It's a good place to be. Where I think anyone who has seen the team play probably is feeling pretty good. As are we. I mean, we're scoring goals. We're giving up goals we shouldn't give up, and those are absolutely correctable. Obviously, those are things we'll be focused on today and tomorrow in training. But it's our last week of non-conference play, and I think that we are. Again, I've said this a few times. I think that we're ahead of schedule as far as where we thought we would be at this point. But we've got 2 big ones again this week, and these will be good tests because we go on the road to do them.
So when you say correctable, it reminds me of what Coach Elko was talking about, some of the defensive issues that were corrected in the game. When you see these, is it more of a not in the right position? Is it a mental mistake? Or is it just, at this level, 1 or 2 mistakes they'll cost you?
Correct. Well, these were mental mistakes because they're things that we talk about daily. And it's just a matter of, it's hard when you've got players who've been playing for quite a while, and they have sometimes some bad habits in their game. It takes a while to work those habits out of it, and really the 3 goals that we've given up have all been kind of little brain farts of sorts, and unfortunately they've stood out because they've been pretty big brain farts.
Right.
But that's part of the learning process, and it's one of the reasons why we try to play teams that are going to really challenge us and push us in the non-conference, is because the games in the SEC are always so close that 1 goal here or there, hopefully we're putting people under pressure, making them have those errors. That's a big difference to where you're going to finish, and whether we're going to win the league again or whether we're going to be, scrapping for anything we can get.
So this made me smile. Not only 7 goals against Lafayette, but 32-4 shot advantage, 12-2 shots on goal. The offense has been something that you all have focused on, and it's paying off.
Right. Well, it's because, again, it's a new team. So we have 11 new starters in the last couple of games. And with that comes just you have to get to know each other. You have to you have to have that rhythm with each other. And it's like with a dance partner. You've got to, you're going to be better the second time, the third time, or the 5th time, or the 11th time. And we're gaining those. And it comes down to, we talk about the quality of the way that we want to attack. That's going to come down to the quality of service, but it's also going to come down to the timing of our runs, the way that we utilize space, when we utilize space, and how we're going to be able to play the ball into each other. And we've had, it's similar things. It's been some bad habits that our coaches are doing a really good job right now of kind of training that out of them, and then just making those good habits into things that we do every day.
Kaylee, hat trick. Just what have you seen?
SEC Player of the Year of the week, at least.
Of the week, yeah. That just came out yesterday, yeah.
Yeah. So Kaylee Noble is when we brought her in, we knew she's a first team all conference player. We knew that she's the kind of kid that really was going to give us something we didn't have, which was a tall, athletic, speedy frame up front, but someone who is adept at taking people on. And a lot of it is just like we said before. It's just a matter of her getting comfortable and knowing how she belongs in this system. And so she did the things that we've been asking and more. She got 3 goals and an assist on Sunday night, and really, she's been so close to doing that and a few other times. Now it's just a matter of, okay, you see the positive that comes from it. Let's reinforce that behavior as much as we possibly can. And she's a great kid. She's very, very thankful in the opportunity that she's getting here at A&M, and we'd like her to keep her foot on the gas as much as possible.
Heck yeah! Another one, the freshman Holly. How do you pronounce her name?
Storer.
She had a brace.
Yep, 2 goals for her. Same thing. New player.
Yeah.
Getting used to the speed of play. I mean, it's going to amp up again this week because we're going to play a really physical team on Thursday at SFA, defending conference champions. Then on Sunday we go up to Fort Worth and we play, again, defending champions in the Big 12 and number 4 team in the country. That you're going to have to play at a speed that is uncomfortable, and we have to be comfortable in being uncomfortable.
TCU, I feel like every year that game is weird. There's something about that game that's weird.
It's usually been a 1-goal game here or there.
And sometimes late goal, right?
Yeah. Now we beat them 2-0 last year. So and they've that's last year, and it's a deal where we've got to be able to understand that it's going to be a tight game. It's going to be one of those games that's going to ebb and flow. And can we keep our concentration? Can we make it to where we're putting them in jeopardy instead of us having to just react to what they do?
And a little bit more on SFA. You said they're a fast physical team.
They are. They're coming off a win out in El Paso. So this is only their second home game of the season so far. It'll be the biggest game for them all season with Texas A&M coming to town. It's the first time we've ever gone to Nacogdoches. So we're expecting a lot of energy. We're expecting a big crowd. And again, it's a team that is they're used to winning. So it should be a bit of a barn burner.
Coach G, thank you, sir.
Appreciate you.
We'll hit a break. We'll come back. A little KBTX talk here on TexAgs Live, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers. And we are back. TexAgs Live, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers, Rollo Insurance Studio. Tyler Shaw, KBTX, is here with us to break down all things that happened this weekend. How are you, buddy?
Doing well. Football's back, so back in the groove.
My favorite time of year is football season for multiple reasons, but from a work perspective, it's the most amount of work, but the least amount of work because, there's new content every day when you got football season.
It's nice. That's why August is probably my least favorite month because there's not new content. You're going off of
everything you've been doing for the last 8 months.
Exactly. It's just all the anticipation and build-up. But now we actually have a game to look at, and we actually have plays, and questions are starting to be answered. So you're right. This is football kind of does the work for us. It's nice.
The upgraded receiver, big deal, man. Right?
Huge.
What we saw from the. I kept on saying better than advertised, but exactly what you need. Everybody in the SEC would love to have those two guys.
Right. I don't think you could have asked for a better debut from both of them. Because, we knew going into this season that it was an upgrade at receiver. And, Concepcion and Mario Craver brought a different dynamic. I don't think you could have asked for anything better than the night that both of them had together.
You're right.
And the fact that they both shined in their first games as an Aggie is huge. And the potential that these two have, because now defenses are going to have to make a lot of tough decisions on who to guard out there.
Tyler, special teams wise, and again, KC was a big part of that.
Right.
Terry Bussey was a big part of that. I feel like that's going to be a storyline that we're monitoring all season long for good reason, right?
Yeah.
Like how it can change the momentum of a game.
So, you go back to 2023, Anais Smith was the last Aggie to return a punt or kick for a touchdown. They went a whole season without doing that. And then I think about, Anais Smith was a dynamic player on special teams. Devon Achan was a dynamic player. But really, we haven't seen this in a while. And I think it's going to, week after week, we're going to start seeing a parent Bussey's got some, returns one for 30 yards. And, Concepcion, he's got a big game. And I do think the kicking game is going to be strong. Again, we didn't see it really because they didn't have any field goals. But I think everything special-wise is going to be just a complete unit, especially in these close games, could be the difference maker and what kind of pushes them over the top.
What about Marcel Reed? What seemed different about him? Maybe his poise or just the way he threw the ball?
Yeah, I think he looked more comfortable out there. Definitely. He and a lot of that was up front, the protection he had, because he had time in the pocket and he had time to kind of go through his progressions and see what he needed. And he made a lot of, mostly the right decisions on all these plays. Yeah, again, a couple of the deep balls, he overthrew and probably could have had back. But in the short game, mid game, at every kind of level, he seemed more accurate. He seemed more confident, determined. And again, a lot of that has to do with his development and probably who he's throwing to as well. He seems to already have that chemistry with KC and Mario and the tight ends.
It's just Tuesday, but since Saturday, I feel like I've talked ad nauseum about the run defense. All right,
Yeah.
Saturday night, Sunday Luchador, Monday show, already throughout this show.
Yeah.
Anything about that concerns you and maybe doesn't concern you? How about both sides?
Okay, well, it is concerning, and I do think it is maybe one of the biggest question marks on this team right now because we saw it last year with the run defense, and we saw it in week one again against UTSA. And yes, UTSA does have good stable of running backs, but it is concerning to give up that much. And if those things don't get fixed, you're staring at Notre Dame in a couple of weeks, and that could be a problem. So it is concerning that hasn't kind of been shored up, blocked up. What I guess is not concerning is the second half adjustments that were made. Because I guess so. The very first play of the second half, you have the 75-yard touchdown you give up. But since then, you go from there after that long touchdown run to the very last kind of garbage touchdown at the end of the game. There's only one first down they gave up. It was a bunch of 3 and outs.
And I think the first down, if I remember correctly, was just the defensive holding by Tyreek Chappelle, right?
Right. So that was technically a 4 and out with the defense holding. So you stall every single drive of theirs except for a garbage touchdown and that first 75-yard touchdown. So if you take those out, I mean, the second half was almost flawless defense. But again, you can't take plays out of games. So the thing that concerns me is that 75-yard touchdown. While it's not a difference maker in a game like this, you give that up to Notre Dame, that could be a difference maker in a close game in South Bend.
It seemed to me, though, that Elko felt like, yeah, it's not acceptable, but we've got it. We you know what I'm saying? Like, we'll be able to fix it this year.
Well, and I hope. And I think what we'll see, again, this week is Utah State. I think they're even a less opponent than UTSA. I don't think they're, we won't be able to draw too many conclusions from that game. So I think in 2 weeks,
a good coach though, Bronco Mendenhall. That's a legit coach right there.
He is, and he's got his resume and his career. I just think it's his first year there, and it's a brand new team. So I just don't know if Bill Belichick's a good coach, and look what happened with UNC. So he's not the one playing the game, but I think a lot of the questions will be answered against Notre Dame. A lot of people will be looking at that. What does the run defense look like again in South Bend?
Tomorrow, I think OB and I are going to kind of tackle this. Is the SEC harder than we expected? Because we already expected it to be hard.
Yeah.
Or more winnable than we expected? Because I really don't know how to feel about Texas.
Yeah.
I don't know how to feel about LSU. I feel better about LSU and I feel worse about Texas, but I don't know if I'm going to make grand sweeping thoughts about them yet either.
No, I think the conference is wide open. I do think LSU is a legit contender, and I think the end of the season they're going to be in the mix. But I think there's going to be a lot of teams in the mix. The way it looks right now, Alabama might not be one of those teams in the mix at the end of the year. Texas is one of the very good teams in the SEC, but beatable. LSU again, I think, is kind of that same tier, but still beatable. Still don't know about Georgia, how they look, but yeah, I think the SEC is wide open, and if A&M can take care of business, they'll be in that mix.
Do you think we're going to see a team that was perceived to be a tier 2, maybe tier 1 team with 5 losses?
Well, that's a good question.
I'm just going to paint a picture for you.
All right.
I keep painting this picture, and I'm not, and I know, but like Texas, for instance,
yeah,
with what's the head, I think they're going to figure it out. I think people are too hard on Arch, but those games now become a little bit more difficult. LSU, I think they're already going to be a 9-3-ish team. That win right there, or 8-4, maybe solidifies them in that kind of higher portion. Right. Alabama, might they be a 7-5 team? Like after what we saw, like they got one, they've still got to play, and I had them winning the SEC. So I guess, can you see where one of those teams maybe drops off to that?
Yeah, I definitely could. I mean, because not everybody's going to be a 10-2 team, 11-1. Someone's going to have to fall off. And again, Alabama, I think, just from what we saw, could very well be kind of that team that slips. You're also going to have teams like Florida, who I think is going to be better, but has a brutal schedule. So Florida might end up having more losses than maybe their talent shows, or stuff like that.
As for your takeaways, give me your big 3 takeaways.
So number 1 is the offense I think is going to be able to win in multiple ways. And I say that because we didn't really see much of a run game. It's not concerning to me. I think a lot of it had to do with how UTSA kind of stacked the box and they were overplaying the run. That, and I still think they're just getting kind of Le'Veon Moss more acclimated. Mm-hmm. This was his first game back. He wasn't, in on all these snaps.
Sure.
So getting him kind of back in the groove. Once they get that run game going, there's going to be games where they can win it on the ground. They can also win it through the air. I mean, they just proved what they can do in the passing game. That was a big takeaway. Another big takeaway is the second half adjustments. I think Elko showed that as a defensive coordinator here. He was a mastermind of those second half adjustments. I think we're going to see more of that. My third big takeaway was the LED lights at Kyle Field. Great addition.
Yeah,
I think they did a great job of not overdoing it. I think places like South Carolina, sometimes it gets a little much, and it's just a light show the whole game. I thought it was a good mix of just kind of the right amount. It's a little disappointing that there's not going to be as many night games, though. So, there's the Mississippi State game that will be pretty cool to see that again, and that's the only guaranteed night game.
Now, before I let you go, your broadcast this weekend, is it normal with a 10 o'clock or 11-ish game? Was it 11:30, 11:45 game?
11:45 kick. Yeah, weird kickoff time.
Yeah.
11:45 kickoff. Yeah, we'll be at Aggie Park, 10 a.m. kicking off Aggie game day to preview everything Utah State.
Okay, Mr. Shaw, thank you very much, bud.
Yeah,
Appreciate you.
it. Yeah.
We'll hit a break. We'll come back with one final segment here on TexAgs Live, talking Twin Liquors, Texas family owned since 1937, your local home for wine, spirits, and good vibes. Celebrate every sip. Twin Liquors is here to help you find those moments that matter. Take advantage or simply order online at twinliquors.com or get your cocktail fixing and wine delivered with DoorDash or Favor. Have you shopped for deals of the week yet? At Twin Liquors, every Thursday, a fresh selection of the items are offered at fantastic prices. Shop these deals in-store or online. And did you know that Twin Liquors not only has an excellent selection of wine and spirits, but also they host in-store events? Visit twinliquors.com/events and find events near you. It is Twin Liquors.
All right, guys, let's talk about some new partners, Aggieland Hydration and Injectables. They're Aggie owned and operated. They are an mobile IV hydration company that was founded back in 2024. I met with Sheldon and Danny over the last week, and they're awesome people. They really know what they're doing. They're proud to serve Bryan College Station with awesome services like IV hydration, Botox, and even some weight loss options. Whether you're looking for a quick boost of hydration or dehydration preventative, they can tailor an IV cocktail specific to your needs. And on a busy weekend, I know some of you guys might be partying a little bit too much. If that's the case, an IV can be one of the easiest ways to ensure you're receiving all those necessary vitamins and minerals that make you feel better. Their overall mission is to bring a more personalized and accessible wellness option to the broader range of clientele here in the Bryan College Station and Brazos Valley area. To book an appointment or inquire about it, just call them up or text them, 979-217-1561. Again, it's Aggieland Hydration and Injectables. Check them out. It's our friends at Aggieland Hydration and Injectables.
And it's TexAgs Live. We're presented by David Gardner's Jewelers, Rollo Insurance Studio. The final few minutes of the program, we go to the Angry Elephant News and Social Center. Aggies gather at the Angry Elephant, by the way. That's where we find the Luke Evangelist. Luke, tell me something good.
There was a comment on the YouTube chat that asked if you think Belichick will make it a year.
I think he will finish the season. I don't know if that means he's going to coach for multiple years. I don't know. Like, there's just been, I do think the drama behind the scenes is a little, like, let's think about who we're talking about here. Coach Belichick, who is about no drama, right? Like, he will cut you, fool, right? Like, he'll cut you for drama. Why are you laughing?
Go ahead.
Sorry,
Continue.
I just got into character. I like getting into character sometimes. But it seems that there's certain coaches that, like, if your backup quarterback is going to cause too much of an issue, remind me, I could be wrong here. I might be mixing up my stories. Didn't they cut Tim Tebow because he wasn't good enough? And, like, there's too much asking questions about Tim Tebow. Like, you don't want your backup quarterback to cause drama. Like,
Wait, are you talking about when Tebow was in the NFL?
Yeah.
Wasn't he never a quarterback? Wasn't he always a tight end? Like, didn't they convert him?
Yeah, no, he was a quarterback in the NFL.
I know, but like
for the Denver Broncos.
It was pretty like immediately after when he was trying to make a comeback.
Yeah, but I feel like there was too much drama off the air, right? And I'm now there's too much drama with Bill Belichick. Like, there's drama around it.
Well, there's drama around college athletics in general, and
he's not a drama guy.
And everyone is like live tweeting during games, and like players care about me and their stats, and they're hopping on social media before, during, and after games. It's just
so to answer the question, it's
crazy.
I don't think it's a long-term fit, but I don't think he's going to quit mid-season.
Yeah.
If the glove doesn't fit, you must have quit.
People have said that in the past.
It's not a good fit, so he must quit after the season.
Well, the thing is, they've been recruiting at such a high level, and that recruiting did directly impact A&M.
You know, he doesn't do a coach's show, right?
Well, yeah. Who would do a coach's show, right?
Every coach in college football but Bill Belichick.
Well, you know, sometimes at his age, he wants to spend quality time with his family or his girlfriend, just because, you know.
I get it.
Yeah, they're spending quality time together.
Yeah. What else?
Okay, well, I was doing some research for Kay Nagley, and I stumbled across this stat that people have kind of talked about, but just to put it into perspective. In Marcel Reed's 8.5 games last year as A&M's quarterback, I'm counting the 8 games that he played in plus the half, or I guess the quarter against McNeese, so just over 8 games. A&M had 23 passing plays that were more than 20 yards. So, like, pretty explosive.
Say that again. How many?
23 pass plays that were 20 yards or more. So, like, explosive pass plays. And they had 8 in one game this year.
So, what you're saying is potentially
gone a third of the production in one eighth of the games.
So, they could eclipse that and potentially, maybe not this week, but through the Notre Dame game.
Yeah, it looks like it could be eclipsed by the time September is over. And A&M as a team last year had 31 of those plays.
Huh.
So they are on pace to shatter that.
Yeah. And I do think they're going to hit some big over-the-top plays. A lot of that was, the yards after catch, the short intermediate plays. I do think, A, we almost saw one, and B, I think I do believe that they are not showing stuff before Notre Dame on purpose.
Yeah.
That's part of, that's what they shouldn't do. And I also think maybe, I don't know what happened with Notre Dame. Why they didn't try to run Jeremiah Love,
Yeah, that was confusing, especially because it was wet. Like, that is the time you would want to run the ball, is when it's raining.
The best running back in college football, who most people said would be a Heisman finalist.
He got, one carry on the first 2 drives?
Yeah, that's
crazy to me.
Like, to me, now, if Clemson did something in particular, just like UTSA potentially could have done there were a few plays that I definitely saw them kind of trying to force the issue. But that's just surprising to me when it comes to Notre Dame. All right.
Agreed.
All right, guys. What a show today. I think it was pretty good.
It's packed.
I think the host was okay. But
yeah, and you did your job.
Thanks for offering your opinion. I thought OB was good.
Yeah, of course he
was. Not great, but
he
good.
didn't have anything particularly funny, which is kind of how I judge him. So he was just he did his job. If I had to PFF grade him, I'd give him a 78.
Okay, that's a pretty good grade though.
Yeah, he did his job, but it wasn't
because in
exceptional.
PFF you're not getting A's very often, right?
It's very rare. Yeah,
yeah, very rare.
You would have to be Mario Craver.
A. Charean Williams was great. Josh Pate was great. Jamie McCoy was great. Jamie Morrison was great. Gerrod Chadwell was great. Jordan Pugh was great. Coach G was great. Tyler Shaw was great. You were okay.
Nick Savage was unbelievable.
I don't know. I heard him yelling at the staff. That's going to do it. Tomorrow on the show, I know on Wednesdays we have John Harris, and we also have Peter Burns. Burns, and we have Ryan Brottinger, and we have a Utah State insider, and we have Max Wright, and we have Pablo Escobar. So that is going to be the show tomorrow on TexAgs Live. Thank you so much for watching and listening. We'll see you mañana.